You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. We hit hump day before the Final Four in Houston, before the women's Final Four up in Dallas. Big games coming on both sides of that. Obviously, still a lot of basketball energy around these parts off of the Rodney Terry announcement and press conference from the last day or so. And if you're a Longhorn fan, you had to enjoy getting rid of that losing streak to the Aggies and keeping your winning streak going. Plus, one of your all-timers has a birthday today. We'll get into all of it. It's Chad and Zay on a Wednesday. I'm Chad Hastings, joined once again by Isaiah Collier, not biblically spelled Isaiah Collier that missed those free throws, non-biblically spelled Isaiah Collier that would have knocked them both down. What's up, Zay?
What up, Chad? Yes, sir. Those horns were at Bluebell Park yesterday, eating up ice cream, scoring runs, Dark Maul acting the ass. Fun night last night. I dug it.
So nowadays, they don't ever show you streakers anymore.
No.
It is a shame. And the weird detail that I had not heard until this morning was that dude was wearing a Darth Maul mask. I totally missed that part. And yeah, I did not realize. I know Craig Way had to enjoy that because he is a Star Wars guy. But the Darth Maul mask was an interesting touch.
Where does Darth Maul rank on like Sith Lords and villains? Because Episode 1, I'm not a big Star Wars guy,
right,
but I know enough to know Episode 1, suspect compared to the others.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's easily the worst movie. But he is one of those characters that I think we were all just really sad that he didn't get to, spoiler alert, that he didn't get to the next movie. He looked great. The fight was great. Craig talked about the fight scene earlier. So I always liked Darth Maul. So in the Sith Lord rankings, I guess
he got hosed on the fight. Like, it's 2-on-1. Come on.
It is.
He's basically getting jumped.
Hey, he had a two-sided lightsaber. What do you want? That's fair. He had as many lightsabers as they had.
I mean, did Darth Maul steal Liam Neeson's kid in that Star Wars like he does in every other Liam Neeson movie?
Qui-Gon's saber was taken. I have a special set of skills. They're given to me by the midichlorians. So the Darth Maul streaker was a part of it last night. I would put Darth Maul in the bronze medal position among Sith Lords. You got to put Vader first.
Okay.
The Emperor is second. And I'm going to put Darth Maul
Which
third.
Which one's the Emperor?
The Emperor, you know.
That's the one that wore the hood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That was a dead-on Emperor.
Yo, Emperor did my man Samuel L. Jackson wrong. I got a problem with Emperor.
Yeah, he gave old Mace Windu the runaround there.
Yeah. I mean, Mace Windu, I thought he was gonna fly. I was like, oh, Samuel, cool. When I didn't know much about Star Wars at the moment, he just got knocked off the building. He cool. He gonna get right back on his feet. Then they're like, nah, he ain't coming back, bro.
He thought he had like a jetpack on.
Something.
Thought he was like Boba Fett or something.
Yo, if you a brother in the Star Wars world, you gotta bring something special to the table. That's what I.
Hey, man.
Come on now.
Engage that jetpack. What?
There ain't too many brothers in the Star Wars community, so Mace Windu was bringing something special to the table. I was expecting something, and nah.
Yeah, we were a little upset. We were a little upset at how Samuel L. Jackson's character got treated there. Spoiler alert, he does not make it. Does not make it out of a certain movie. We'll let you go figure out which one. So Darth Maul in a mask was part of it last night, but the big takeaway was the Longhorns beating the Aggies. We will get into that. But before we do, we've already had a texter put this on a text today and mention it. We don't mention every birthday of former Longhorns, but when it's one of the statue guys, we probably need to mention it. Happy birthday to Earl Campbell today.
Tyler Rose.
That is it. Earl Campbell. Come on now. Big Earl Campbell. You got to love it. The Tyler Rose does have a birthday today. Extra shout out to Tyler Campbell, to Earl, and the event coming up this weekend. You hear the Barbecue and Boots promos playing on the station. It's an incredible thing they do every year. Earl's going to be hanging out. Pro Football Hall of Famers are going to be hanging out. Longhorn legends are going to be hanging out, and it's all to raise money to help the fight against MS, which Tyler Campbell has been battling with MS and spreading the word and raising money and doing all these great things throughout his life, if you don't know Tyler's story. So you can go to proplayerfoundation.org and find out more. But happy birthday to Earl Campbell today. And we thought it might be a good time to have another Mount Rushmore discussion. How about Mount Rushmore of running backs? Because, Zay, I'm going to assume that a lot of people that will deal with us today will put Earl in there. And then those other slots are interesting to me. How old you are is going to determine.
For sure.
And also, do you want to tell me that your Mount Rushmore has to be people you've seen? If you do that, then some people listening won't be able to say Jim Brown or some other names. So let us know your running back Mount Rushmore, everything included, what your eyes have seen, however you want to do it. Or if you just want to give us like your favorite running back Mount Rushmore.
And some of y'all don't be afraid to put O.J. Simpson on there. We ain't going to think less of you.
Ooh.
If you got the juice on your mouth, we're talking about football. We ain't talking about off the field stuff.
Especially if you are of a certain age and you literally saw it.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember being young and before the whole other part of O.J. happened. Dude, when my dad would talk about O.J. Simpson as a running back, he'd just like stop, kind of freeze, and he'd be like, dude, oh, man. I was like, what about that 2,000-yard season? Was he impressive? Was he impressive? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? He was unbelievable. It was amazing. So, yeah, hey, let us know. Let us know.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Chad Hastings.
Mm-hmm.
At your best, what would you say is your peak, like, athletic high?
Oh, dear God.
Like, where you felt the most in shape, you felt the best about yourself, swolled up, working out, feeling good. When was that? What era? Time period?
Probably either it's like, senior year of high school or maybe that second year of college range.
What were we weighing? What were we weighing?
Oh, we were probably about 190.
Oh, man. All right.
190-ish.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
My best is probably around the high school area, a couple of years after high school, 20 years old. I was probably 225 at my best, feeling good.
Right.
I wouldn't say swole, but I was feeling good.
Okay.
Do you think in an Oklahoma drill setting, Earl Campbell, at his high, at his best, would you be able to bring him down? You get 5 tries. Would you be able to bring him down? One of those 5 at that 190 Waxahachie Chad Hastings.
Do I get hardcore match rules?
What does that mean? Like a ladder and chair and stuff?
Can I get a metal chair?
No, just pads. Y'all got pads on? All the pads that you need. I'll give you a neck roll.
Are my pads super pads? Do they have like knives and stuff that come out of them like a transformer? Because no is the answer. I'm not bringing Earl Campbell down. Not one time. Tyler Rose wins 5 times.
I'm thinking so too. Like, I'm not trying to be the big man here. I ain't tackling that brother.
No.
The way he used to run, that seems like the scariest thing ever. Just by yourself, no help's coming. It's just you and him.
My God.
This is why folks don't do the Oklahoma drill no more. Because of guys like Earl Campbell.
I'll just be honest. Earl might go 5 for 5 today.
Straight up.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not trying to put anybody's business out there, but y'all can go do the math if you like. It's about a 20-year difference. It's still not going to put much money on me. I'm still going to go with the Tyler Rose on that one. Earl Campbell's birthday today.
Yeah, because we got listeners that think they can. You know we do.
I know, but not in his prime. No, not in his prime. You said in his prime. And Earl would tell us, I'm assuming Earl would tell us that is sometime when he was wearing burnt orange. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Junior, senior year
or
at
fresh
Texas.
Or
fresh
right off campus,
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right in that time period. This text comes from Sal in New York City. Emmett, Barry Sanders, Sweetness, and Earl. That's their Mount Rushmore. It's a hell of a Mount Rushmore.
Can't hate on that, dog.
Yeah.
Can't hate on that one bit.
I could make an argument for that being my Mount Rushmore. I've always been a big Walter Payton guy.
Yeah.
Walter Payton, I never saw Jim Brown actually play the game.
Right.
Walter Payton is the greatest all-around running back I think I've ever seen in my life. That's the guy for me. If you just say, who have you seen? Because I didn't get a lot of, as I'm getting into football, I didn't feel like I got like Earl Campbell's prime
Yes.
of watching. But I did see enough of Earl to know he'd be on my Mount Rushmore. So it'd probably be, it's like Earl and Walter for me, and then I got to kind of look around and see. I'm a Cowboys guy, so Tony Dorsett is at least in my discussion. I know a lot of people wouldn't make him Mount Rushmore, but man, 33 was my guy back then.
Oh, he was nice.
He was really,
undersized.
really
It didn't matter coming out of Pittsburgh. For me, I would like to say guys that I've seen and watched. I didn't see much of Barry Sanders, but he there. I didn't see much of Emmitt Smith either, but he there too. Then that's where it gets tricky. The next two, probably LaDainian Tomlinson.
Ooh.
I know people are going, what, Zay? But you got to remember, I'm in my younger 30s. I'm talking about people that I really watched. And coming out of that Waco area, LT was that dude for me. The fourth, maybe Ricky.
Okay. Who was your second one after Earl?
I never said Earl.
Oh,
I never watched Earl.
Oh,
so
my
that's
bad. Okay.
not. Yeah, it's not.
I'm sorry.
Fair
Who were
for
the
me.
first two you said?
Emmett and Barry Sanders.
Emmett Berry. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Emmett and Berry. Yeah. I mean, Emmett's going to be mentioned. I know a lot of people. Those two get mentioned together because those that really, really, really love Emmett sometimes get accused of forgetting about Barry, and those that really, really love Barry sometimes get accused of not respecting Emmett enough.
Right.
Those two factions end up screaming at each other. So we can have a little bit of that today on Earl Campbell's birthday. So one of those guys, one of the Heisman winners, one of the statue guys, and just one of the best people I think that's ever carried that Longhorn banner has a birthday today. So happy birthday to Earl. Hope he's having a great birthday. And again, shout out to Tyler and Earl and everybody that's getting ready for the Barbecue and Boots event. ProPlayerFoundation.org if you want to find out more information and see if there are still seats available for that incredible event. All right, Zay, so you watched it a little bit in addition to the streaker. You watched the baseball last night?
Watch it all,
College
baby.
Station?
Let's get it.
What'd you think?
It was impressive. 15-0 or 15-game winning streak for Coach Pierce and that crew, and they left a lot of men on the bases. 15 hits, and I know just with only 5 runs, you thought this could have been a blowout. This could have been a double-digit run type of dub, but hey, as long as you get the win, it's been a long time since you beaten the Aggies in baseball. I know guys like Eric Kennedy's never beaten the Aggies in baseball, and you could tell last night. I thought he had the moment of the game, Chad. In the 8th inning, him leading off and having that bang-bang play at first that was originally called an out. Old brother over there looking like Derek Brooks, umpiring baseball. He said, oh! I was like, ooh, go back. Eric Kennedy waved his arms like, nah, that's safe, bruh. Run it back. Coach, challenge. We challenging that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Got it right. Completely changed the game. Peyton Powell came up, got on, and then Dylan Campbell came on, got on. Then they just kept bringing guys home, and you put in 2 more runs to make it 5-2, and that's ball game right there. It was 3-2, 8th inning, Texas A&M thinking they could get back in the game, and that was pretty deflating for them. So Porter Brown, he put the ball in play. They couldn't turn it into the double, add that 5th run. And yeah, I thought it was a heck of a ball game. They used a lot of players, used a lot of pitches and stuff, but Zane Morehouse, he was good in the 8th inning and 9th inning, getting out of those situations. I mean, you put 2 men on base in that 8th inning, and you throw some fire to get out of a jam, and then you got 2 batters left and you strike out guys. So Zane Morehouse, nightmare, he did his thing, and the Horns are rolling to this weekend series against a pretty good Oklahoma State team.
And there are 2 on in the 9th.
Right.
To close it out.
Right.
I mean, he's facing an issue where one swing changes the entire thing. Zane Morehouse got his 3rd save of the year. Zay, I'm glad you brought up the men left on base. If I'm a Longhorn baseball fan today, that is one of the blinking lights. David Pierce, when they interviewed him, as much as I hate the coaches' interviews in the middle of a baseball game, he mentioned that right away. They're like, oh, you got to like what you're seeing so far, Coach? Ooh, man, bases loaded, no outs. We got to get something out of that. He knows how important those things are in baseball. So as you move forward, you don't want 15 guys left on.
Yeah.
Having said that, they handled their situations, and I completely agree with you about the replay. I love that exists now.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Despite the fact that in this case, I am rooting for the team that it hurt. I don't care. I want to get those right. Most importantly, Zay, here's what I love about it. Today, as a Longhorn fan, Can you tell me the first base umpire's name?
No.
Exactly. And that's good.
That's why he's just Derek Brooks in the umpire uniform to me.
Exactly.
Big swole brother.
It was a bang-bang play. My eyes told me he was safe. When I saw it live, I thought, I think he was safe. I thought what you thought as a Longhorn fan, I was thinking it from the other side. I just thought, I think that's going to go the other way. But now we can fix it. We don't have the stupid thing like when I was a kid and we had a World Series turn on a play like that, and I can tell you that umpire's name. I know Don Denkinger's name because of the silliness of all of that they didn't just have the ability to go back and look at it. That was 86, and they didn't fix it until, God, was it 2014 we finally got replay in baseball? Or maybe it was 2004, something with a 4 in it. It went way too – it was 04, I think, because they even waited until after Bartman and all that mess to get instant replay in baseball, and now we've got it at the college level. So I love that, and the Longhorns took advantage of the correct call, and then the Aggies could not get themselves out of it. And I kept thinking back to that moment. This is what started it. That first batter getting on. Aggies just, from the beginning, you could tell the Aggie pitching was shaky. I told you about an early lead yesterday. That crowd got quieted down pretty quick. Only a couple runs, but they could feel it. Early on, I think that the Aggie crowd could feel,
yeah,
we're seeing more of what we've seen. The team that played Portland, the team that played LSU, team that got swept at Tennessee, they realized early on, these Longhorns are getting pretty good at bats, and it felt like the Longhorns were going to have the big moments, and they did.
Yeah, y'all's boys, Zadejo, the lefty. That's how you say his name, right?
Yes.
Zadejo. Yeah. You got 0-2 count. You got Porter Brown on, and you give up 2 RBI double. That's brutal.
That was huge.
That is brutal.
Huge
You're like, I'm about to get this guy out, and you give him something that smooth to hit. And shout out to Porter Brown for taking advantage of that moment and staying aggressive. Because again, you're down 0-2. You just kind of staying alive. Yet alone get a 2 RBI double
and kind of fought that thing off.
Just fought that thing off. That's big time play. And then the top of the third, going back to just leaving too many men on base, you get 4 straight hits and only 1 run.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the things, again, they'll tweak up. That's the stuff Pierce is going to get on them about. Congrats, guys, 15 in a row, and we ended the thing against the Aggies. When they get back into conference play now, that's what he's going to tell them. We can't do that anymore. Can't be leaving 15 guys on base. We got to take advantage of these opportunities because he knows deep down what should the score of that game been last night.
It should have been like 10-2.
9-2, 11-2. That could have been a rout if things had happened early on. By the way, another thing you got to love if you're a Longhorn fan, how about this, Zay? Your 1, 2, and 3 batters were, let me get this right, 10 for 14 and scored all 5 runs.
It's big time.
That's your 1, 2, and 3 hitters just absolutely raking. Impressive stuff. And then you, of course, mentioned Porter Brown bringing in 3 runs himself. So Longhorns get the win, 5-2. 15-game win streak, and they are getting ready to head to Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yo, one of my favorite plays of last night's game defensively is when Warner was trying to go for 3, and that relay throw from Dylan Campbell to Mitchell Daly to Peyton Powell, that was a thing of beauty.
Yep.
That was a thing of beauty. Now, I don't know if I was Warner, I probably would have ran, because he ain't no Ichiro out there.
No.
Ichiro would have made that third, man. That would have been a smooth triple. But, hey, you're trying to be aggressive, and the Horns made them pay. Excellent relay play.
Yeah, you could feel there was a little pressure on that A&M team at that point on a base runner to say, I got to make something happen.
Yeah.
Got to make something happen. And it didn't quite work. 5-2, Texas gets that win. If you have any thoughts on it, the Specs text line is there for you, 337-3776. Plus those Mount Rushmore of running backs today. It is Earl's birthday today.
Somebody on the Specs text line threw Mike Allstack on there.
Whoa!
That's wild, but I respect it.
Whoa!
That's a wild homie, ain't even a running back, really.
See, that's one of those where, again, if you just want to make it your Mount Rushmore of your favorite running backs, we'll let Mike Allstott in there if you do it that way. I don't think you're saying Mike Allstott's one of the 4 best running backs of all time.
Yeah.
But if it's just the way you look at it, then okay. Plus, I am a Bucs guy, so I'll let Mike Allstott into the discussion. But yeah, Mike Allstott was a different kind of running back.
See, that's it. So, that's a good point there. Now, for my 4th one, it's going to be Ricky and Priest Holmes. Both of them, they're fighting. Like Mount Rushmore, both of their heads are combined.
Throw in a couple favorites.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Man,
And
Priest, those few years in Kansas City, boy.
I was gonna say you wanna combine a college, put impactful college moments followed by impactful pro moments. Oof. Priest Holmes didn't put together something that it probably doesn't deserve like Canton discussion or anything like that. But that dude was a badass for about a. What's that, about
3 years?
I was going to give him 6. It may not quite be that long.
Oh, so you're going to like Ravens.
I'm saying end of Texas, then the Kansas City run. Do you give him like 6 years combined? Like 2 at Texas and 4?
I remember like
pro?
3 really good years.
Man.
2
He
like
was something.
MVP worthy.
Oh, yeah, he was incredible. He was incredible. So give us your favorite running back Mount Rushmore or just your all-time running back Mount Rushmore. I think I got to have Earl and Walter, and then I'm trying to figure out who else I'm putting in my Mount Rushmore. All-timer, I got to throw Jim Brown in, even though I didn't see him. Every highlight I see, I go, oh my God, it's Jim Brown.
And what he was doing off the field, too.
Yeah, it's true. He's just a badass in general.
Acting and stuff.
And I know he could still beat me up, so I've really got to be careful. Like I don't want Jim Brown coming after me. Also, coming up, we'll continue to talk about the Rodney Terry story. One of the former players that got mentioned yesterday at that presser was J.D. Lewis. Of course, we talked to J.D. throughout football season because he's a fantasy football freak, but today we thought we'd get his thoughts on Rodney Terry because he's obviously following the basketball program very closely, goes to a lot of games, and he was there yesterday. And, of course, J.D. remembers Rodney Terry as an assistant from back in the day. So we'll ask J.D. about his relationship with Coach Terry and how happy he is that Coach Terry got the gig. That is coming right up on The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little Apple leasing. Any car, any truck, any make, any model, that's what they can do for you. Plus, all the selection that's out there, they'll go search it out for you. You don't have to do all that legwork and go to all the different dealerships because you may be looking at, different brands. You're looking at maybe there's a Chevy option, a Ford option, a Honda option, a Toyota option. Well, you go to each of those dealerships, it's going to take you a little time. And then maybe one of them doesn't have the selection that you're looking for. But Apple Leasing has all kinds of contacts. They're going to go out and find you all the best options. And then it becomes the easiest and safest way to get a new car. The leasing option gives you that chance to pay for the part of the car that you're using. You've got options as it goes through. Well, what happens in the middle of it if this? Well, they'll let you know. Well, what happens if I want something else? And maybe I want to trade up and get a newer car, in the middle. Just ask them. They'll tell you how all that works. 346-9977. That's it. 346-9977. I talk to Beth. Call up, talk to Beth or one of their other experts, and they will walk you through the process. It's so simple. And remember, you're signing everything automatically. You're signing everything in a way automatically. You're signing everything electronically with DocuSign, plus they get all those discounts and incentives that the dealers do, so they're going to pass all those savings to you. 346-9977 or check out appleleasing.com. Oh, this sounds like something I should know. It's whoa. Huh, okay. Old country, Emerald Land. Oh, sounds like we're getting political. Maybe getting a little political with Ireland, but I don't know it. Who is it, Zay?
Gary Moore.
Yeah, it wasn't happening.
Wild Frontier.
The Wild Frontier, Gary Moore. I knew a couple people that were into Gary Moore back in the day, but I was not into it well enough to know that. All right, so shout out to Gary Moore getting us started today. Also, a shout out to Buda. Buda having a birthday party, and the Horn's going to be there to celebrate. Join the Horn and Coke FM at the Buda Amphitheater and City Park Saturday starting at 3. Carnival all day, birthday cake, BYOB, live music starting at 5:45 with Uncle Lucius headlining at 7:30. So join us this Saturday for Buda's birthday celebration. Details on the events page at hornfm.com. It's Chad and Zay on this Wednesday, and our next guest normally joins us to talk some fantasy football, but we always mix in some basketball too because he knows a little bit about it. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. We will talk to a man who was mentioned in the press conference yesterday. Not everybody was, but this man was. He is J.D. Lewis. What's up, J.D.?
What's up, guys? It's a funny story about that too. RT, he's the man. He even said, I don't want to forget anybody. And sitting directly to my left was Connor Atchley, and he forgot Connor, and I loved it. I loved it because I'm used to being the guy that is forgotten and left out. I'm used to that, and so the shout out it made me feel real good. But then I got to be able to kind of poke Connor about it too. It was so double sweet.
Nice.
Yo, JD, since you got all this pull and stuff and the head coach is shouting you out at his pressers, you need to go up to Coach Terry and say, hey, I know JJ Redick ruined the black jerseys for us.
Here we go.
But we could bring those back. It's okay. It's time. It's been a long time since you were biting on that pump fake from JJ.
That's wrong.
Let's bring back the black jerseys. In basketball, we could do it.
I'm sorry, JD.
Dude, I'm all about the black jerseys. I am, but I'll tell you right now, it's not RT making that decision. So it doesn't matter what we think and what RT thinks. That's a CDC and Hartzell decision, and I think they've pretty much made up their mind on that front.
Yeah, I think you're right there. JD, take people back into your time playing at Texas. By the time you get to Texas, Rodney Terry's been there, 2-3 years, something like that?
Yeah, I think about 3 years, yeah.
So what do you remember about, was he a part of your recruiting at all? What do you remember about kind of everybody's been talking about the relationship and just kind of the magic quality of the guy and how he connects with players. What do you remember from back then about Coach Terry?
RT actually recruited me. So he was my head recruiter. Okay. So, I loved him, and I got down here and he I think took a special interest in trying to help me be prepared and be ready to go. But I think RT himself would tell you, and he did yesterday in the press conference, that he's changed as a coach, and going and being a head coach at UTEP and at Fresno State helped him to, I think, realize what kind of coach he wanted to be and what kind of relationship he wanted to have with his players. And I think it's amazing. I mean, you can see the difference between then and now, and that's what's going to make him successful, especially in this day and age where players care more about playing for somebody that they know cares about them, that isn't trying to take the Bobby Knight approach and beat you up, but he's going to be on your side and show you that he's on your side and give you confidence that way, so that when he constructively criticizes, you take it from a place of love and not from a place of resentment. And that's what you have to have again today to be successful, to bring in the guys that you can, because it's not just bringing in freshmen. You also have to bring in sophomores, juniors, and seniors through the transfer portal. And that's a big thing. And I think the blueprint was really set there. I think Beard helped set that up, but RT also says all of the coaches, all of the assistants, everybody in there had something to do with getting that set up at UT. And now I think all the pieces are in place around him to give him the kind of support that he needs to succeed. And I think we know he can recruit, man. He can absolutely recruit, and he's going to continue to do that. So I'm excited for him, and I'm excited where the program is going.
Yeah, if he got you down for Amarillo, he damn sure can recruit because you're a hell of a player. But, JD, let me ask you this. Watching this season and once Coach Terry took over, a lot of people had a lot of doubts for obvious reasons. And I know you just knowing him on a personal level, I doubt that you did. But watching this season and how these players, gathered around him and they planned for just the ultimate goal, and that's get to the Final Four and hopefully have a chance to win a national championship. And yeah, they came short, but going to the Elite Eight, that's something that we haven't seen since you guys played. What was it like watching this run?
It was special, man, and obviously the hardest part of that was feeling like we had that game for 80% of the game, and then it just kind of flipped on a head there at the end. And so, but I think that we were prepared. I think that having some injuries was tough, and some calls that didn't go our way. But to even be in that position after what they'd had to go through earlier in the year, I mean, what you have to do to get everybody on the same page and hyped and ready to go around a new leader is not easy. And so for him to be able to do that is very impressive, and for him to right the ship, because there were a lot of us that were worried, that were scared. And it wasn't that he couldn't do the job. It was everybody, I think, was so excited about Beard and saw what he could do, and they just hadn't seen it from RT yet. And so he got the big stage. He got the job interview, and he aced it. I mean, the way he finished. And, look, if you can beat Kansas, I don't care if Kansas is having a down year, up year, what. If you can beat them twice by 20 points in one season, that's something not a lot of people can say that they've done. And we did that. So, and then just to kind of go even further, by having this continuity and keeping it in place, you hopefully don't disrupt the recruiting pipeline. RT's a Texas guy. He knows this pipeline. He's going to be able to recruit the heck out of it. But also, like I said, the transfer portal, it's still a big part of all of this. And I think that there's minimal disruption by keeping RT around, and allows him to spend even more time really going and getting those guys and telling those guys, look, I'm here the next 5 years. I'm at Texas. I'm going to be the guy, and they know that. They know who they're coming to play for, and that he's not going to be leaving them anytime soon, because this is his dream job too.
JD, there were a lot of different moments people have been mentioning. CDC and those guys talked about when they kind of felt comfortable. You just mentioned that Kansas time. Was that what it was for you? I can imagine you former players that know Coach Terry, you would have loved for it to all work out, and you're thinking, man, I hope this works. Was that the moment? Was it winning that game in Kansas City and whipping them? Was it, like you said, whipping them twice in a week? Is that when it was for you, or was there some other point along the line where you said, you know what, not only do I want this to happen, I think it's happening right now. I think he's taking the job.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it was probably pretty close to that. I mean, I felt like it. I was watching it before that, and I think that was really just kind of the cherry on top. Being able to handle Kansas. And, obviously it would have been even better if there was a Big 12 title on the line in that game. But nonetheless, that built a lot of hype for the team, a lot of momentum going into the NCAA tournament, knowing that, they had just taken down the number one seed, not once, but twice by 20 points, a number one seed. So, that was a big moment for sure. I think that was probably the stamp, but I felt like it was, he had done what was going to be required of him to keep his job, probably even a little bit sooner. Just getting these guys all on board, and hearing the way that they talked about him and everything. I mean, they really do love and respect and appreciate RT as a coach and as a person, and I think that's what he wants, and that's what people want to go play for.
Yeah.
JD, we got to ask you a football question. A lot has happened since the Chiefs held that Super Bowl title up, and the Cowboys, they've definitely made some moves, adding Stephon Gilmore, Brandon Cooks, re-signing key players. And just tell me, what have you noticed right now with the offseason of the NFL and how that may impact the fantasy season coming up?
I think that we've seen a lot of impact, but we still have yet to see some of the biggest impacts. I mean, one of the craziest, biggest signings, and this will probably shock you to hear me say, but it's on the defensive side of the ball. I think it was the 49ers going and getting Javon Hargrave. I mean, I think that having him on that D-line, with Bosa and Armstead and some of those other guys, I mean, that's scary what that Niners D-line is going to be able to do. I think some of these teams going out and beefing up their O-line is really good, but the biggest piece that is going to be massive from a fantasy perspective to fall is going to be this Aaron Rodgers thing. And does he go to the Jets? And then Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's another big piece, and that stuff's going to play out where we in the dynasty or in the fantasy community, even the fantasy dynasty community, where we really start picking things back up again is basically once you get through the rookie draft, because a lot of the free agency's taken place, rookie draft's taken place. Now you know where guys are going, and now you can start figuring out where's opportunity. Guys are going to fluctuate a lot by then. And then they'll fluctuate a lot, obviously, between that and the actual fantasy drafts. But, now's the time for us dynasty junkies to really get into these rookies, and it's a lot of fun. Guys like Rashawn Johnson, who's starting to gradually climb up boards with the way that he was playing at the Senior Bowl before his injury. So a lot of people really impressed with him. Tyjae Spears is a guy from Tulane, running back that is getting a lot of hype right now. So it's fun to see how all of this goes from right now pre-draft to post-draft once we know guys' destinations. But yeah, hey, Cowboys have done a fantastic job. Smartest thing they've ever done, unfortunately, is stop paying running back room $16 to $20 million. Get that down. They're learning some things.
They're tying Jerry's hands behind his back when he thinks about running backs. And by the way, if you want to know, Zay, how it's the off season for fantasy, you asked JD Lewis a fantasy question and he immediately went to defense. JD, that just blows me away. You who's offended when someone asks you about a defense, and you go right to Javon Hargraves.
It's the biggest impact signing, I think, of this offseason. So you got to talk about it sometime. Just this time, though. No more defense.
No more.
Stuff,
okay.
No more.
I understand. Well, we appreciate your time, man. We're so happy for the Texas basketball family that you guys got this thing that you wanted. And like you said, the continuity feels like it's there. Feels like everything is maybe gotten that puzzle put back together. And we'll look forward to season number 2 at the Moody Center. So thanks for checking in with us. We hope everything is good with you and yours. And we're not losing your number when fantasy time comes around. But thanks for the time, brother.
Hey, I'm not changing my number anytime soon. You know where to find me.
There you
Talk
go.
to you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, JD.
That is J.D. Lewis, and he would like us to mention again that he got the mention at the presser, and Connor actually did not.
Damn.
Connor, if you're out there, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. But you can't mention everybody.
Yeah.
I was at the very beginning when he mentioned a couple coaches. I thought, oh, he's not going to mention CC. I thought he was going to mention CC. CC got in there.
He got in there at the end, baby.
Right in there at the end. He threw out the Celestia Collier right there at the end. That was good. Thanks to JD for his time. Coming up at 1:05, our normal Wednesday visit with Justin Wells of Inside Texas and On3.com. How did the junior day go from his perspective? Any big names to keep an eye on coming out of that? Obviously, we'll get his thoughts on Texas basketball at the end of the season and the official beginning of the Rodney Terry era as head coach. Up next in the crap bag, how many people were watching when Texas and Miami were playing? The ratings are out for this part of March Madness. We'll get you that. Plus, are the Astros really getting that much love? And a stat in the NBA that really does stand on its own. Coming up on The Horn. Oh, they call me the Breeze. Yeah. See, this is one of those that I know it. Don't know if I'm going to get it, but I know it. Let me go with Marshall Tucker Band?
No.
Damn it.
Leonard Skinner.
Skinnerd. Man. All right. I'm sorry, Leonard Skinner fans. My bad. Another band that wasn't around a lot of people that love Skinner. I need to listen to more Skinner, and I have not. Leonard Skinner and Gary Moore getting us started today. We are glad you're there. A lot of weird stories out there today. We talked about Texas beating the Aggies in baseball. The streaker is continuing to be a story. I've now watched videos. I did not realize that the streaker got all the way out of the stadium.
Oh, yeah, they ain't even try. Y'all got some lazy security over there in College
Climbed
Station.
the wall. You didn't see the video when he hit the other side, though?
Yeah, they were waiting for him.
Right, yeah.
That's
actually smart if you think about it. Instead of – because he's got to go somewhere, right? Instead of waiting and trying to chase him around, they made sure they had somebody on the backside, and there were like 2 officers waiting on him, and he immediately puts the hands up. Now there's a story. I don't know if it's a spoof or not, but Kyle Umalang, who loves to troll Aggies, has said Aggies with another L as the streaker from the baseball game last night turned out to be one of their student athletes, and he has a picture of a cross-country athlete. Could that possibly be the case?
That's a damn shame.
God, that would be stupid.
That would be
That'd
very
be
dumb.
really, really stupid. And then from the last name I'm seeing, I think it's a guy who would share the last name of somebody on the baseball team.
Huh.
Isn't there a Werner on the baseball team for A&M?
Yeah, that was my man that got thrown out at third. Tried to make a play.
Because this picture is a Spencer Werner. The picture that's being thrown around? I don't know. Anyway, the streaker is continuing. And I wasn't really a streaker. And by the way, thank you to the streaker.
He showed his ass. He pulled his pants down, showed his ass.
At least it's not. I mean, at least it wasn't totally naked or whatever. I'm all about a tranquilizer dart in that situation. I think you can fire as many as you can safely at him. Once he's clear of those outfielders, fire tranquilizer darts till he hits the ground.
Yeah.
I've never understood why that's entertaining, funny, cool. Never, ever. I don't know what. Once Morgana, the Kissing Bandit, was done, we got to stop that. That British dude that became famous for it, didn't care for him. It's just silly. It's just silly.
Yeah.
Now,
and I'm all for a woman running around with her top off. Let them roll.
Yeah.
If it's guys and stuff like that, trying to show bare ass like, oh boy, Darth Maul, I'm not with it.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you there. All right. With a lot of good text rolling in on the Specs text line, 337-3776. This text says, who is JD's top fantasy kicker this year? Oh, no, we're not coming. No. You know he's never doing that. You know he is never, ever doing that.
It's always Justin Tucker and who's next.
Yeah, right. We're not allowed to ask defense or kicking questions to J.D. Lewis when it comes to fantasy football. All right, let's get you coming up at 1, Justin Wells of Inside Texas. We'll get you the flex segment and break down that McDonald's All-American game from last night. Obviously, there's a former Longhorn and Mr. Holland in that game and some of the other guys. And there was an Isaiah Collier. So we have to have Isaiah Collier break down Isaiah Collier on the show because nobody else can do that. Right now, though, let's go into the crap bag and talk about who's watching this basketball tournament. Here we go. It's brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. It makes sense, I guess, when you think it through. This comes from OLBG.com that looked into the TV ratings for Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. Of all the games that we've had so far in those 2 rounds, not a shock that Texas and Miami ends up as the highest rated game. Over 11 million folks were watching that one. The household rating was a little over a 6 rating. It is the only game that can say that. Texas was also in at the 8 spot with the Xavier game. So as we look ahead, it is interesting to note Creighton San Diego State is second place.
Okay.
Thought that was a little interesting. I'm not sure what kind of rating San Diego State and FAU will get. FAU Kansas State was 4th place among those games. That's going to be the big worry, Zay, if you are the TV networks. It is the fact that they get a good college basketball brand name in UConn. They get a team that is hot in Miami, but they also get a decent brand there. probably would have preferred the Texas brand overall in terms of eyeballs and TV sets. I'm guessing Texas would have got them more. But then in that other game, what kind of rating are you going to get off of San Diego State FAU?
It's tough.
That's got to scare them a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely scares them.
Yeah.
But, hey, they're going to get the real basketball fans and whatever.
They
This
are.
is March Madness. This is where we're at now with NIL and transfer portal and the COVID year. You get this.
Yeah, that's true. Now, the other thing I saw today, and this is coming from, what is this group called? Betway, I think, from, betway.com. They looked into social media stuff for baseball fans as the season's about to start, and they are declaring the Astros as the most loved team in the league. So I thought, wait, how could that possibly be true? There's tons of fans that hate the Astros.
Yeah,
This is
bang drum.
This is strictly based on social media data revealing which teams get the most positive sentiments by fans online. So they're looking at the positive sentiment only. So the percentage of positivity online about a particular team. Houston comes in first. Believe it or not, second is the Phillies. As much as those fans can be mean and nasty, apparently they love their team to the total social media following they list here is up over over 5 million.
Yeah, what's synonymous with both those teams? They won last year.
That's true.
World Series.
Good point. Then it's the Braves, Cubs, Cardinals. If you're wondering about the Yankees, they are 10th on this list. The Rangers are 19th on this list. It's kind of interesting way to look at it. I'm guessing if you went to other fan bases and said, who do you hate the most, I am still guessing that Astros, Yankees are at the top.
Right.
Dodgers are going to be close in that discussion. I would assume there's different fan bases that might hate the Cardinals and Cubs and things like
Yeah,
that.
but if we're just basing this off production on the field and who's good, it makes sense. Because the Phillies were playing great baseball. That's why they went to the World Series for the NL. And then the Astros winning the World Series. I mean, all the star power they have with Yordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena. The list goes on. They were incredible this last year. So if you're an Astros fan, of course you're going to talk good about them. They didn't have many flaws.
Right, yeah. It's all positivity. So kind of a weird thing, but it does make sense once you kind of dig through it. The Dodgers, by the way, ranked 14th on that list. One other thing in the crap bag, I saw this stat, and it really does speak to the NBA right now, but specifically to how amazing these two guys are. So as of last night's Warriors game, I'm assuming it was Klay Thompson that needed to hit the threes. So they have now, Curry and Thompson, have each gotten to 250 three-point field goals made this season. So both of them are up over 250. It is the third time that they have done this in their careers. They did it in 16-17, and they did it in 15-16. Zay, do you know who the only other two teammates are that have each hit 250 threes in a season?
Oh, man. That's tough. That's really tough.
It is.
Give me a hint. I need some Eastern Conference team, something.
I can't give you that hint because it is tough because it's nobody.
Oh, okay.
No one.
That makes sense.
No
That
two
makes
teammates
sense.
ever have done this. And they've done it 3 times. Just let that one wash over you. Say what you want about how Curry has affected other shooters, how Curry has affected the way they get, whatever. These two guys have done something nobody else has ever done, and they've done it 3 times. 250 made threes for each of them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and you want to talk about the shooting with those guys, but I think they have two of the best staminas that we've seen in the association. Like, they are constantly moving.
Yep.
Klay Thompson has had 60-point games where I don't think he's taken more than 10 dribbles in that game. Just moving around,
You're
coming
right.
off screens, catching, shooting. Do they benefit each other? Yeah, because when you worry about one, the other's open. So they're the best shooting backcourt of all time, and those stats make it not even close.
It's just crazy. How dangerous. Right now, they're sitting at the 6th seed. So right now, they are out of play-in game discussion. How dangerous a team is that for you in the playoffs?
Very dangerous, especially if they get Sacramento. They like that matchup. As good as Sacramento has been playing this season, love De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis is a really good player, a 3-time All-Star. We know his pops is a legend in Lithuania. Kevin Herter's had a really good year. They traded him from the Hawks. Malik Monk's done well. Keegan Murray might be first-team All-Rookie. He's about to break the rookie record for most three-point shots made that, previously was held by Dame Lillard and a couple of other guys. So Sacramento, they're a tough, really fun ball club. And we talked about it the other day. Mike Woodson, I'm not Mike Woodson. Mike Brown.
Yep.
He could be considered coach of the year. So they are a scary team, the Warriors. But remember, they don't have Andrew Wiggins. We talked about it and where we at. What could be going on with them. Draymond Green kind of squashed those rumors and said, how dare y'all? This is some guy's lie, blah, blah, blah. Steve Kerr has came out and said Andrew Wiggins has been working out and staying in game shape, but we do not know if he'll be back with the team this season. He was their second best player on their team in their playoff run last year. Right after Steph, it was Andrew Wiggins locking up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and then scoring on the other end, averaging around 20 a game. So as good as Jordan Poole is, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, we know what Draymond brings to the table defensively. Without Andrew Wiggins, this is why they're sitting at the 6th spot and have such a bad road record, and they're not picked to win the championship like they were last year.
Should be some wild atmospheres, too, if it's Sacramento and them. Back and forth to those two buildings, as bad as they've been on the road.
Golden Chick Arena ain't Arco, but Sacramento Kings, they love Kings fans. They love their Kings.
Is that the one where if they win, they shoot the beam of light out of the building?
Yeah, it's dope.
That's pretty cool.
It's dope.
I like that. I'm a big fan of those kind of traditions, the light the tower thing here. My wife's school at SFA, they have purple lights that just start shining around this. I love that kind of stuff. That's very, very cool that they have that in the NBA, shooting a beam of light out of the top of the building if they win.
Yo, I know a lot of people haven't watched much NBA for obvious reasons. I get it. I love basketball a lot. Sometimes it's tough for me to watch. But when the playoffs start, watch De'Aaron Fox. Every time I watch him, I think of Shaka Smart not getting him right out of Houston. Right up the road, Shaka.
Went to Kentucky?
Which,
Is that right?
It's hard to, during that run, Calipari. If you're just going one and done, then I get it. Go to Kentucky. But, man.
That's a tough one. No, that's tough.
He's a special talent.
He is. He is really, really good. Sacramento, interesting. The 3 seed right now in the West. All right, there's your first hour. Up next, Justin Wells of Inside Texas, Junior Day, Longhorn basketball, and all of that. Plus at 1:30, we'll talk about the McDonald's All-American game. Longhorn fans, what did you think of Ron Holland? Game was really competitive right to the end as well. We'll discuss it all coming up on The Horn. This is Chad talking Underdog Fantasy. Easiest place to play fantasy sports and batter up. Major League Baseball starts tomorrow. Opening day. It's like Christmas morning if you're a seam head, and you can draft a season-long fantasy baseball team to win $100,000 on Underdog. If you've ever wanted to play a fantasy baseball league with zero in-season management, you can with Underdog Fantasy. In MLB Best Ball, you just join a league with your friends, or you can enter one of their tournaments, draft your team, and that's it. No waivers, no trades, no setting your lineup each day of the season. And get this, you automatically get the optimal scores from the players you draft in your starting lineup. So there's no need to worry about who you're putting in, who you're not putting in. None of that. Highest scores at the end of the season win cash prizes. Also, be sure to check out the Dinger to take your shot at $500,000 in total prizes. Sign up today with the promo code HORN and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Get a Major League Baseball fantasy team going today before the season starts at Underdog Fantasy. All right, let's go hour number 2 on a Wednesday. Hope the middle of your week is looking good. Final Four in 2 Texas cities this weekend, but no Texas teams are involved. Unfortunately for Longhorn fans, Houston fans, both know about those Miami Hurricanes. They're headed to Houston on the men's side. The women's side of things, looks like South Carolina's show to lose up in Dallas. We're getting ready for all of that. Obviously, Texas beating A&M in baseball last night, ending that losing streak, keeping the winning streak going up to 15 games. And yes, there are all kinds of weird NFL stories out there, including all the different teams commenting on Lamar Jackson. And was there really a owner in the league that referenced a request from a rapper to get a quarterback on a team? Yeah, that apparently happened too. We'll get into all those things. We got the McDonald's All-American game we'll talk about coming up in the Flex segment as well. It's Chad and Zay on this Wednesday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, not the one that missed the free throws. Zay, for the record, you would have knocked those down, correct?
Yeah, I would have knocked those down.
Just making sure.
Yeah, it would have been money.
That Isaiah Collier's going to USC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is he from out that way? Is he from?
Nah, he's from Georgia.
Oh, he's a Georgia kid.
He's a Georgia boy.
That's a long way to go to school, man.
Yeah, but Georgia, Southern Cal, I get it.
Yeah, okay.
And they probably throw him a little paper, too. I can't be mad at Zay Collier.
Okay, fair enough. That's a different spelling. He goes with the biblical spelling, that Isaiah Collier. Our Isaiah Collier goes with the Thomas spelling.
Yeah, he's probably going to go to the league. So if Michael B. Jordan could do it, I could do it.
There you go.
Isaiah J. Collier. I'm good with that.
There it is. You never know. You may get all kinds of social media followers off of him.
Yeah. And the thing that me and Michael B. Jordan have in common, both sex symbols.
Yeah.
So-
Darn right.
So the other, Isaiah Collier and Michael Jordan, let y'all be the NBA players. Me and Michael B. Jordan will be the sex symbols.
Uh-huh. You and Michael B. Jordan, both better looking than your co-stars. All due respect to whatever his name. What's that other dude's name in Creed? What's that guy's name?
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
All due respect to Majors. I think Jordan's a little better looking there. All right, let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. He is Justin Wells of Inside Texas on 3.com. Check him out on Twitter at Justin Wells 2424. What's up, Justin?
Hey, what's up, Chad? I just got to ask: Have you consoled your coworker today? I was talking to Zay before we went on the air, and man, that is one sad soul. Like he's still upset about the Texas-Miami game, man. I tried to talk him down, but he wasn't listening to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some happiness lately. There's been the Rodney Terry happiness. There's been the A&M, losing in baseball to Texas happiness. But you're right. It's still haunting him because we can understand it.
Because I know we're going to have to talk about it talking to you.
Yeah, right. It's going to happen.
That's why I'm like, we haven't had to talk about it a few days. We on the high of Coach Terry getting hired, and then I pull my notes out of Miami and Texas, and I got to ask you, what's your opinion on that Brock Cunningham over the back call on O'Meara? What'd you think about that one, Jay Wells?
I thought about it when I thought about a lot of the, I guess you'd say 32 free throws to 10 in the second half disparity. I thought, man, this is a bunch of crap. Not only was they made the correct call, guys,
Yep.
They just switched it. Why'd they switch it? They made their correct call. There was no there was no indifference, and then they just decided to switch it. It makes everything very fishy. But I will say this: on top of you can't blame the refs wholeheartedly. I understand how that goes. Texas stopped feeding the post about the 10-minute mark. And if you notice, the defense started spacing out further and further. So those threes that they were taking, they weren't open threes from a double down on the block. They were contested threes with a hand in their face. And it made all the difference in the world. Going to the block is what got them to that point for the first 30 minutes of the game. And I just couldn't understand why they stopped doing that. Timmy Allen was doing really well in that early second half stretch down there, and they got away from their offense. Now, granted, the referees absolutely stopped any flow of basketball whatsoever. I mean, when you only call 9 fouls in the first half and you call 46 in the second half, it's a little spicy. And then you find out the referee is the same referee from the Purdue game the year before when there were 30 fouls called in the second half.
Oh, I hadn't
Didn't
heard,
know that.
And
hadn't
then you
heard
gotta
that.
think-
Wow.
And then you start thinking, you know what? This doesn't taste very good. But give Rodney Terry and those guys credit. What an incredible season. What an incredible run. I felt like they were the better team, but Miami played really well in the second half. I hate the fact that they let Jordan Miller shoot 10 feet from the basket. They should have pushed that guy into the seats. Quit letting him have the easy stuff. Miami hit their free throws. I mean, it was one thing in the 2006 NBA Finals for the NBA refs to call Dwayne Wade on 72 fouls. That was one thing. But for him to hit the free throws, that's the other half of it. And that's exactly what Miami did. They hit their free throws down the stretch. And a 7-point loss, it stings because you're up 13 with 9 minutes left. You got all the momentum in the world. You're starting to think about going to H-Town for the Final Four. Everything started sounding good. And then the refs blew a whistle every 6 seconds. You couldn't get to the free throw line. You quit going to the block, and before you knew it, you're headed home.
Justin, one of our guys here in the office bought tickets at halftime.
Oh,
Like,
You need to tell Aaron he needs to stop telling people that kind of stuff.
yeah. Oh,
You got to keep that lower, man.
What-
Come on, Aaron.
it wasn't
He
Aaron.
knows better than that.
Yeah.
You got to have some foresight on
I
that.
won E.
it wasn't Aaron. It was one of the Longhorn fans that is a part of our staff that decided to buy those tickets, and now the other guys think he jinxed it all. But Texas.
Well, I know Bucky didn't because he ain't ponying up no
Yeah.
ticket.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're definitely right about that. But you're getting close. Talking with Justin Wells. So, Justin, in terms of obviously, that part of it, not the way Texas fans wanted it to end. But, man, this Rodney Terry story is amazing. We've talked to you about it throughout the season and at different parts, different, mileposts along the way. If this was going to happen back in December, I can't think of a better version. I mean, yes, you can, obviously, if Rodney Terry takes him to the Final Four or they win it all. But for what has happened here, to watch him really take a hold of that job, it's an incredible story. You were talking to us about it at the very beginning of this thing, about how impressed you were. How impressed are you now that you've seen the press conference and seen it all come full circle?
When this first happened, I remember us talking about it, and I said I felt like if he could get him to the Sweet 16, that he probably played his way, coached his way into the job. And then they get to the Elite Eight, and everything just felt right. The kids were playing hard for him. He was doing a great job with Dylan DeSue in the last month of the season. They had really found kind of an identity and a niche. You hate the way it ended, but man, I enjoyed the journey. I really did. It was so much fun covering this bunch this year because they went through so much, and I think they endeared themselves to Texas fans and to fans across the country because it was a really good story. And then the next morning on his birthday, Rodney Terry gets the best birthday present he could wish for, and that's a 5-year contract. And so I think Coach Terry absolutely earned it. I think he took over a team that was pretty well built, but you still have to win. You still have to put them on the track and give them gas and let them race. And that's exactly what he did. He gave them confidence. He gave them composure. And I think that he is an excellent representative of the University of Texas and what the athletics department wants to be moving forward. Not to mention the fact that he has helped secure Ron Allen and A.J. Johnson into this class, which I think is going to be absolutely tremendous. Not to mention that there's a chance Dylan DeSue comes back. There's still some other guys that could be coming back as well. I just think it's a great story for Rodney Terry and those guys and those assistants. Give those guys, Chris Ogden, all those coaches, give those guys credit. Give the players credit. I loved Arterio Morris kind of coming into his own late in the season. Dylan Mitchell giving a little bit extra each night that he was out there, knowing when Timmy Allen was down in the Big 12 tournament, knowing when Dylan DeSue was down in the Sweet 16. Like, these guys picked each other up, and that's the essence of sports. Helping your teammates, rooting for each other, and a collective, the best effort you can give. And I think Rodney Terry embodies that. I think that's why he's so good. He relates to these kids. He's very genuine. He's very appreciative. And I think CDC made the right call. Now, granted, I was a little put off by the national media kind of throwing darts at Texas for not naming him the head coach during the season without actually knowing any knowledge of the situation. But, that's how the national media is.
Yeah.
They take a blurb, they run with it like ESPN. They don't confirm anything. They steal all the other's info, and then they wonder what's going on. Well, you know what? Rodney Terry was getting that job. Everyone in Austin knew it, especially from what he accomplished. I think CDC made the right decision. I love that the Texas brass made the right decision. And I think this program is going to be positive moving forward. They've got the Moody Center. They've got a great class coming in. Now they got to dig their heels in and start climbing into that 2024 cycle.
Speaking of the 2024 cycle, Jay Wells, you think about the guys who could be returning, the 5 guys who could be coming back, like Tyrese Hunter, Arterio Morris. You just mentioned Dylan DeSue. We know Brock Cunningham's coming back. And Dylan Mitchell, that's kind of the one that we don't know, not because, he might leave for the transfer portal. We know how much he loves RT and the University of Texas, but coming in as a 5-star player, top 5 player in the nation, he had big time NBA aspirations. And this season, he showed flashes of why he should be, looked at for the NBA scouts, but he didn't have the season that we thought he could have had. What do you think he should do? Do you think he should come back, or a lot like a lot of these guys enter the draft or test his way in the G League?
Well, I think you guys know I'm pro player when it comes to this kind of stuff. And if they have the opportunity to move on to the league and to start getting paid a full-time salary to do this, you got to go. Like, whether people think you're ready or not, it doesn't matter. If the NBA drafts you, guess what? They think you're ready. And that's what's the most important. So if Dylan Mitchell has the opportunity, there was a talk of him potentially being a lottery pick in this next draft. And I'm not sure if that's still there. The athleticism is. He has the upside and athleticism. He reminds me a lot of Kai Jones. He has so much of that athletic upside, the NBA just drools over it. I actually saw Kai Jones in a Charlotte uniform last Friday night when we went and watched the Mavericks play. And of course, he had green hair, teal green hair, just like Kai. And so I think there's a lot of Dylan Mitchell there. You can get drafted and develop your way into a big-time player over the next few years while, getting that salary. At the same time, it wouldn't hurt him to come back because he's going to be a guy they kind of rely on next year. A lot of these bigs are going to be gone, and that's why I think that's partly why we didn't see him have like a blockbuster All-American season. There were just bigs in front of him, bigs that were experienced and that will also be playing in the league someday. And so for Dylan, if he has the opportunity, buddy, you got to go. You got to go get it while it's hot, because that opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. You don't want to overthink this. But at the same time, if he comes back, just think of the excitement that he would bring to this team. I mean, he has that athletic upside. We saw him progress as not only a defensive guy, because he always had that, but also, his offensive game was starting to come around a little bit. And I think an off season in Austin with the team and Coach Terry and those guys, that would be developed, and he would be a potential all-conference guy next year. And so for Dylan Mitchell, this roster is going to be interesting. Ron Holland's going to come in and play immediately. That's happening. Johnson's going to come in and play real soon. That's probably going to happen. Where they go in the portal, to me, is going to be more of an indicator of what we see next season. It's the same thing with Chris Beard when he took the job 2 years ago. How he reconstructed the roster through the portal and how college basketball allows you to do that now, I think they can get Texas back to kind of where they were. I don't necessarily think they can be as talented as this last bunch or near as experienced, but they can definitely fill in some guys, and they've got some upside up and down the bench. Right now, though, if Mitchell has the chance to go, you got to pat him on the back and say good luck, and represent the burnt orange well in the league with so many other players. It's ridiculous how many guys are in the NBA that played at the University of Texas. It's somewhat surprising in some aspect, but I think the team has a solid foundation for next year. You just got to fill in those holes. And the beauty of Dylan Mitchell in 2023, 2024, 5 or 6 years ago, he was thinking about, staying in college on that Pell Grant dime or going to the league. Now it's different. You got NIL, and he could supplement some of that with a little bit of paper and stay in Austin and still get, collect some coin while also getting prepared for that next level, which is the top level. Because I do think he has some ways to go in development. But Dillon Mitchell's one that, man, if he came back, this roster certainly gets sexy. And then you just fill in with a few portal guys, and then all of a sudden it looks fantastic. I'll give you one name, Austin Nunez, guy that used to ball a few years ago. Jerry Hamilton and I used to watch him in San Antonio. Yeah, he's in the portal yesterday out of Arizona State. He shot almost 40% from the three last year.
Yeah,
That's
San Antonio
Wagner.
Wagner. Yeah,
right.
the
So
lefty. The lefty.
There you go. You got some guys that you could fill in there. And so it's going to be fun to see how this roster gets constructed. I think Rodney Terry is a tremendous recruiter. He's just going to have to make sure he gets Ogden and those guys on the same page and they build this thing out. But if Dillon Mitchell has a shot, that man needs to go. You get that one opportunity, go live the dream.
Justin, real quick before we let you go, anything coming off of Junior Day that you would tell the people about at this point, or was it pretty much business as usual for Sark?
Actually, this wasn't business as usual. The first Junior Day in late January, I want to say they had something between 50 and 60 kids. And talking to some parents afterwards, it was clear that they felt like that was almost too many guys, because you felt like you're kind of getting rushed in and rushed out. You don't really get to sit down and have long conversations about, how this could benefit your son and your family down the future, how he fits in Texas. A lot of it gets kind of forced. And I know the coaches don't ever mean that. They try to connect with everybody they can in that short window of time. This cookout was that list was cut in half. You're looking at more like 20, 25, 30 guys, which gave the staff a ton more one-on-one time, which after talking to the recruits, that's where they really connected. You talk to an Alex January, the on-3 4-star out of Duncanville, defensive tackle, 6'4", 315 pounds. He's been a starter on the defensive line at Duncanville since he was 15 years old. Texas looks fantastic. He came to the first Junior Day and I think got a little lost in the mix. He came back with his father. He's got an older brother that already attends Texas. His dad played linebacker at Texas in the late 80s. So there's that connection. And I think Alex January came away from the second Junior Day so much more enamored with Texas than the first. He certainly loved the relationship with Bo Davis and going over his game tape. They got to go through what he did well, what he didn't do well. Bo showed him some things that he could work on. Top to bottom, you bring in a Christian Clark. And that's a guy that running back Coach Tashard Choice has really likes. And he's a kid out of Phoenix who absolutely loves Bijan Robinson. And he's a bigger kid. He's about 5'11", 205 pounds. And so he's a little underrated. But him and Jarrett Gibson are at the top of that running back chart. And Christian Clark coming in was fantastic. I was told he's a culture fit through and through. This kid had gone through Alabama, Georgia, Arizona State, some handful of other schools. Really loved his time in Austin and getting to know Coach Choice a little bit better. And having a Colin Simmons, nation's number one edge, came in early, actually. Came in on that Friday, stayed even later, got to hang out with some players, got to connect with some former teammates. Cam Williams is now entrenched on the roster going into his second season at Texas. And so top to bottom, I thought the Junior Day, actually, there was more star power at the first one, but it was overcrowded. This one had some big names, some major priorities, and it was a smaller group. And if you just talk to the parents and you talk to the recruits, this was the better Junior Day because it was the less numbers. They got more opportunities to ask those questions. Nothing felt forced. And I felt like coming out of this last recruiting event on Saturday, not to mention they got to watch practice. And for high school kids, that's a big eye-opener because they see the intensity. They see the attention to detail, how important every drill, every snap, every move matters. They see other players coaching each other. They see what it's like to be in the college football game and in the arena. And to me, that's why this Junior Day I felt like was a big win on all facets. Colin Simmons came away impressed. Christian Clark was blown away, and Alex January may be that much closer to being a Longhorn after his official visit in late June. So coming off of this junior day, it was a smaller crowd, but I think Steve Sarkisian and the group did a tremendous job building with some of these kids, and you need to check it out, InsideTexas.com. We've got a ton of post-junior day stuff, lots of stuff from kids, lots of feedback, just nothing but the good stuff. And so I would chalk this one up as a good day.
Texas spring game is only 17 days away, and that is Justin Wells. We hit it every Wednesday about this time. He mentioned Inside Texas on 3.com, and if you're on Twitter, at Justin Wells 2424. Justin, always appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much. Have a good week.
Nothing but love, guys.
Thanks, Jay Wells.
Good stuff there. Yeah, you got to feel good about that if you're a Texas fan coming out of Junior Day, going a little quality over quantity there. I like that answer. All right, coming up, we'll get you the flex segment, the McDonald's All-American game. What did Zay think of Ronald Holland, and what did Zay think of Isaiah Collier? You know, the other one that's going to USC. We'll find out. Plus, it's the first offer, but I'm guessing it won't be the last. This is The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk a little sinus and snoring specialist, which means we're talking about your breathing. We're talking about sleeping and how well rested you are. That's what sinus and snoring specialist is all about. They want to find out if you are snoring and then figure out what are the causes of snoring. You've heard the spots we're running with me and Dr. Slaughter going over those different reasons why people snore. It's not just as simple as if you're snoring, it's this, and therefore they're going to do this. There's a lot of different options out there. Remember, Dr. Slaughter has surgical and non-surgical options that other places just don't have. Sinus and snoring specialists got me right in 2017. They can do the same for you in 2023. Make it a promise to yourself to take care of yourself. If you're into your late 40s like me, or into your 50s or 60s or beyond, and you're not sleeping right. You know you got sleep apnea. You've been told you have. Maybe you've already been diagnosed with sleep apnea, but you didn't really do anything about it. You didn't really fix the problem. You just know what the problem is. Sinus and snoring specialists can help you. Call and set up the appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialist. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. All right. I definitely don't know this one. I don't know this one at all. What do you got, Zay?
Marianne by Marshall Crenshaw.
I did not know that one. Marshall Crenshaw. I wonder if this would qualify as yacht rock. It's got that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Marshall Crenshaw, Leonard Skinner, Gary Moore have all been on the show today. We appreciate your contributions to the show. Specs text line is 337-3776. We are asking you today for your running back Mount Rushmores because it's Earl Campbell's birthday today. So somebody sent us two different Mount Rushmores. The Mount Rushmore of people they've seen. This is the Mount Rushmore of the ones they've seen. Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, Adrian Peterson. Before my time, Earl Campbell, Walter Payton, Tony Dorsett, and OJ.
That's what I'm talking about. We got an OJ, baby.
Those are both pretty solid lists. And yeah, if you've ever seen highlights, even if you didn't get to see it, the legit see it, OJ is one of those guys that when you see him on the highlight, it does look different.
Yeah.
It really does. That gait, that stride, that like 2 steps, but it felt like he went 15 yards in the 2 steps. He was a smooth operator.
Yo, OJ used to kill on the field.
That's just unnecessary. You tried to separate the discussion, and then you brought it back.
What am I bringing? I'm talking
What are
about
you
how he was
doing?
on the field.
What are you doing?
He killed on the field.
That's
What do you
so
want
wrong.
me to say?
It's wrong. It's
How's it wrong? I'm
it's
talking
so
about
wrong.
football.
It is so
Talking about football, man. Come on.
Jeez, Zay. If your analogy does not fit, you must. Oh wait, never mind. I can't get out of it. All right. Coming up, we will get you where we at in society with Zay. He might want to talk about OJ with the Bills. I have no idea. But right now, let's talk some McDonald's All-American Game in the Flex segment. See what Zay Collier thought of Zay Collier. But before we get your comments on the other Isaiah Collier, Zay, how about Ronald Holland, the Texas signee
That's right.
that was a part of the game last night? What'd you make of Holland?
Solid game, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 2 assists. He showed everything that he's going to bring to the 40 acres, and that's him being able to do a little bit of everything really well with that elite athleticism of a 5-star player. You know, he's got to work on this outside shot. That's one thing he definitely has to work on, but everybody always says power forward with him. I think he's a small forward. If he polishes up the ball handling, he's already a decent ball handler. He's not going to come out and Kyrie Irving your ass or nothing, but he has a good enough handle to get where he needs to go.
What's the
we'll
height?
see. 6'8".
6'8". Okay.
6'8".
Yeah.
So, again, he's a little bit like Dylan Mitchell, but I think Dylan Mitchell's more of a 4 on the college level, where Ron Holland's more of a 3. But he had a nasty block where he just threw somebody's stuff out of bounds.
My
like,
goodness.
boy, oh boy. And then one play, Chad, on a break, he caught the ball like 2 steps inside the half-court line, took 1 dribble, and was at the rim for a dunk.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Again, 2 steps. Think about where half court is.
Yeah.
Think about 1 dribble without traveling. This is high school ball.
Yeah.
They don't have that extra crab dribble that the NBA guys have.
Yeah, I'm always the old man that runs it back to
me
make
too.
sure. That wasn't traveling.
It
You're
wasn't
right.
traveling.
You're
just
right.
smooth stride, pure athleticism. I can't wait. I know he's going to play hard. And again, we just talked with Justin Wells. If they could bring back Dylan Mitchell, Tyrese Hunter, Arterio Morris, Dylan Dessou, if they could bring those guys back to go along with the guys they got coming in, A.J. Johnson, Ron Holland, going that transfer portal, this team should be fighting for another Big 12 championship and making another long run once, next year, this time of the season. So I'm really excited about those guys coming in. And Ron Holland, he played hard yesterday. He's not a big all-star type player, but he showed what he's going to be able to show at the 40 acres, and that's grit, athleticism, good defense, and a little bit of scoring with that. One
of our texters says, Zay, Bronny James wasn't that bad.
Yo,
what'd you think?
Yo, I ain't gonna front. Y'all know me. I've been the first one to say I don't think he should be there.
Uh-huh.
He showed me a little bit last night.
Uh-huh.
That jumper pure. 5 threes. That jumper is pure. One dribble to the left, pull up, same form as he did in the catch and shoot. Yo.
And they weren't all absolutely wide open threes.
No.
He had a couple that were a little different.
Yeah,
and like you said, the
dribble
one
work.
where he
Yeah,
has to
exactly.
come off the
You know,
dribble.
be
Yep.
a little shifty with it. He shot a ball from deep. Looked like he shot it from Galveston. Nothing but the bottom.
Mhm.
I was impressed with Bronny James. Do I still think there are other players that should have been in this game and not him? Like they kept putting up we ranking them 28th for ESPN. Yet these are the 24 best players in the high school. Does that make sense? I don't think that adds up, Chad.
No, their math was
Their
speaking
math-
to your argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And a lot of other people, like On3 might be the only one that has them in top 10. So from Rivals,
Right. They would tell you he should have been there.
24/7, yeah, it's
That is
just
dope.
and when he plays with good guys, you could look good too. So I don't know. Would I love to have him at the 40 acres at University of Texas? Hell yeah.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. But he showed me something last night. I don't know if he's going to be a lottery pick once the 2024 NBA draft comes around. Like a lot of people are projecting them to be that work for the 4-letter network.
Right.
But Pops was there last night. He was happy. I saw him with his LeBron ones on.
He could not stop
He
reacting.
could not stop reacting.
Dude, come on, Dad. Can't you just sit there? Could you just sit there? Do you have
Can't
to
do it.
Do you have to do the three every single
Can't
time?
do it. Like
He's-
you're not playing.
He's so proud. He just couldn't do. He couldn't stop. He couldn't stay. He looked like John Morant's dad out there last
I would
night.
respect LeBron more if, like, okay, son, we get you to the league, whether it's authentic or not. We get you to the league, and once he gets in, Pops dunks his ass. Just puts him in the rim like T-Mac did Sean Bradley in that playoff series. I'd respect that more.
That's funny.
Like all those times you talk back, boy, I'm going to embarrass you in front of the world. No whooping could get you over this. No whooping.
Oh, my God. Co-MVPs were DJ Wagner, who's going to Kentucky, and Isaiah Collier, who's headed to USC.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
How old did you feel with seeing all of these former NBA players' sons out there? LeBron James Jr.,
super
Stojakovic's son was out there knocking down shots, and then DJ Wagner, Dewan Wagner, who went to Memphis and had a little career in the league.
Yeah, and DJ's got the granddad, too.
He does.
Which I remember I don't remember that far back, quite that far, but I would have remembered him in the NBA. Like I saw that name and I went, oh damn, I watched him play. So I felt really old last night.
DJ Wagner has game. All his 19 points came in that second half. Could really shoot it from that Jersey area. So when you grow up playing in Jersey and New York, you have a certain toughness and pride about you. And you saw it with him last night. Like he didn't score any points in that first half, and he was like, okay, I'm about to turn it up. And he did that. And then Isaiah Collier, biblical name version, nice.
He's really good.
Physical.
Yeah.
Like great ball handling. Reminds me a lot of Keontae George, who just declared for the draft out of Baylor.
I know he's going to USC. He's got the kind of basketball body that could survive the Big 12.
Absolutely.
He's got that kind of body.
Yeah. And that's what makes him so scary. Like he's a high school kid already with an NBA body. Gotta make your free throws though. And he was hurt.
Yeah.
He missed those free throws late.
Rough.
And you were telling me it looked like he didn't want no part of those free throws.
Oh, I knew he was missing the second one. They iced him between. He was going to stand on the line. Then he backed off, and one of his teammates was trying to say, no, man, come off the line, because you've talked about that. You don't want to stay there and stand and get nervous. Then he comes back for the second one. His feet were shifting a little bit.
Oh,
he kind of was
fam.
moving around. I thought, he's missing this. He's not hitting this, and he front rimmed it. I felt so bad for him. That was rough, but really good player. A lot of good talent out there at the McDonald's All-Star game. Was it just this old man, or was the uniform thing a little weird on one team where guys were like blending with the floor?
They were both weird. I couldn't tell if there were names on the back of the jerseys. Then they went close up, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And then with the court, like you said, it's just everything was odd.
Everything Ronald Holland did, I had to rewind because I lost him. I would lose him in the play. Like his jersey and shorts blended with the floor once he got inside the arc.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find him.
Burger King and Wendy's are having a drink together saying, we wouldn't have let this happen.
That's right. Come on now. We'll get this figured out. That's right, because they were
Not a good look.
No, it wasn't as good. I like the ball of fire in the middle, and overall the floor looked all right. But yeah, the colors were a little strange. One other quick thing here in the flex segment, Zay, one of my favorites from last football season. I know you were following him too. That Vandegrift team, Miles Coleman,
Yeah.
the receiver, Class of 24. He's going into his senior year. He tweeted out in the last day, blessed to have earned my first D1 offer from the University of Tulsa.
I've been waiting for that.
I'm going to go on a limb and say this is not going to be his
Better
last D1 offer.
It better not be.
Miles Coleman, we are rooting for you. So much fun to watch, and it'll be fun to watch that Vandegrift team again this year. But, man, what a weapon he can be in this version of high school to college football, man. That is a speedy receiver. You can put him in a lot of different places, and he can do a lot for you.
Yeah, I mean, what a season Vandegrift had, and he was such a big part of it. In that game versus DeSoto, he looked like he was right at home with all those athletes they had for the Eagles. Like, right at home. We know Jonte Cook and Trey Wisner, those guys, but, man, he was right there. And Tulsa, good job on getting at him early. I know that means a lot. The first one always is a little something special because you feel like those guys, they've stuck with you from jump. Right when all the other ones start coming in, you have a certain, like, just respect, and
you're always going to remember
you're
that.
just going to remember it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and that sticks with you. So shout out to Tulsa for getting on Coleman early. And I'm with you, Chad. This ain't going to be the last.
He's fun to watch. 4.4 in the 40, a 10,700 meters if you need him. Central Texas Player of the Year, 6A, second team All-State. Miles Coleman at Miles Coleman 14 if you want to give him a follow on Twitter. He is so much fun to watch. Vandegrift will be obviously a team we'll be following around these parts. We bring you the Vandegrift games. That schedule is out there for you Vandegrift Vipers fans as well if you want to check it out. FLX ATX on your social media. Where are we at in society? Coming up with Zay, Chip Brown of horns247.com coming up at 2:05 to talk more Longhorns. Don't move. It's the Horn. Now, this is interesting. I know the song very well. This would be Tumbling Dice, which was the Stones originally. This is clearly not Mick Jagger and not the Stones. So, I'm going to go... Oh, I got two names in my head. The first thing I thought was Bonnie Raitt.
No, close.
Ronstadt?
That's it.
Damn it. Should have gone Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah, right when I said close, you knew.
Yep. Linda Ronstadt. I didn't realize she covered this. You got to roll me.
Apparently, it was on her greatest hits album, so.
Who knows? Maybe I'll look it up and she wrote it, but I think it's a Stone song. Originally, the Stones used to put this in every live set. Fans used to love Tumbling Dice. I think this is on Exile on Main Street. Linda Ronstadt, Marshall Crenshaw, Leonard Skinner, and Gary Moore. We hope you're having a good Wednesday. Your running back Mount Rushmores, we'll get back into that at 2:30. It is Earl Campbell's birthday today, so we're talking about our Mount Rushmores of running backs. A lot of people are breaking it up into the ones they have and haven't seen. If you didn't actually see them play live, that's a little different. I didn't see Jim Brown play, so if you say who's the greatest running back of all time and made me pick one guy, it's probably Jim Brown. But the ones I've seen, putting that Mount Rushmore together, that's a little different. So we'll talk about that as we move on. Happy birthday to the great Earl Campbell today. Chip Brown of horns247.com is coming up at 2:05. He was there live to watch it come apart. Sorry, Jay. For Texas against Miami. Sorry to all of you out there that are Longhorn fans, because that's the energy that you were hoping for, but it's the energy we were looking for around here, and this area was looking for, and Houston was looking for, and then it didn't happen. What did it look like and feel like in the building? We'll find out from Chip and talk about Rodney Terry's situation and some other Longhorn stuff coming up. Right now, though, let's go where we at in society. I think Zay's got some stuff on Twitter for me to check out. Here we go. All right, Zay, thanks to you, I know where my Twitter DMs are now. I appreciate
pull
you
those
for that.
Twitter DMs up, no problem. Don't mention it. The NFL annual head coaches meeting with the classic NFL head coaches photo
Here we
was
go.
taken today, Chad, and let's just go down the list of the 32 NFL coaches, their fits, how they're looking, how happy they are, and kind of, sometimes what it represents where your team is. Like whether you're smiling, what you're wearing, as you see Andy Reid in the middle, Hawaiian shirt on, looks like he has some Wallaby type loafers on, which listen, we're doing the Ghostface Killer thing. We'll talk about Wallabies tomorrow, but Andy Reid chilling in the middle.
Yeah, he looks
cold
comfortable.
chilling.
Looks comfy.
Very comfy.
Uh-huh.
That's what happens when you win Super Bowls.
2 rings comfy.
2 rings comfy. Now let's go down on the very end, bottom right.
Yes.
Big Mike looking as comfortable as Big Mike could look.
Aaron this morning said he thought he looked like he was on the toilet. And maybe he needed a little assistance. His
posture isn't the best.
He's shrugging a little bit. The shoulders are down a little bit. Is that D'Amico Ryans over his shoulder?
Yes.
Okay. D'Amico's looking sharp.
Yeah.
As I would expect. D'Amico Ryans, a handsome man.
Right by him is Doug Peterson.
That's okay. Doug Peterson. Yeah. I heard the guys ripping on Pete Carroll today saying he looked old. I think he looks fine.
Yeah, he looks fine. Who said he looked old?
Bucky.
That's rich.
Ironically.
That's rich, Bucky Gobble.
Okay, so way down at the left side.
Out there walking like a monk.
Left side, top row, second from the end. Is that Brian Daboll?
That is Brian Daboll.
Is he rocking aviators? Are those sunglasses? Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, word on the street is Brian Daboll cracked open a cold one at like 9 a.m. or 11 a.m.
Dude, he looks like Maverick from Top Gun. What is he doing over there?
He looks confident.
And is that an intern standing next to him? Who the hell is that?
on the right, or his right?
Might be Kevin O'Connell or something.
Yeah, some of these guys.
A couple new guys I don't know.
Right.
And I do agree with the guys, too, that one of the incognito guys here that you're going to really have to look for is Mike Tomlin, because we're so used to seeing him with headgear on. Mike Tomlin, you can find him once you see him.
I see his bald ass.
Oh, there he is, and he's rocking the suit.
Yeah, there ain't too many brothers. He sticks out.
In fact, he is the only guy going. Oh, he doesn't have a tie. Those are sunglasses that he's tucked into his shirt. I think the coaches that had the sunglasses tucked into the shirt needed to just wear them like Daboll did. Just have everybody go in sunglasses. Dayball's going sunglasses. McVay is going sunglasses.
Yeah, how cool do you think you are, Sean McVay?
He looks.
You're about to retire. That's how you look.
He looks like he's got that ring and that girlfriend is what it looks like, and that place to coach. He looks like he's the L.A. Rams coach. Good for him.
Like, now Mike McDaniel, he's wearing those capris, all white. That's very Miami. The white on white,
Yeah,
very Miami. He still looks like a professor, but
he does. Yeah, I'm about to say, he looks like he's going to teach a poli-sci class in
Yeah.
that building behind them. By the way, Mike McDaniel, another coach, asked about Lamar Jackson, and he repped his guys and said, yeah, I don't really think that's good. He talked about Tua and their team and everything, but team after team after team is not interested in Lamar Jackson. This thing is going to get really weird for him really fast.
I mean, it is an interesting situation, and at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson deserves to be on the team because there are 32 starting NFL quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, he's top 10. Whether you want to pay him or not, whether you're scared of the risk.
He's
and getting
absolutely
hurt,
top 32.
he's
I know
definitely
that.
top 32. So it's a tricky situation. Is he getting hosed because of him being his own agent? Absolutely. But when you got owners like Arthur Blank saying he's a risk factor, like, yeah, Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, Home Depot's own, goes, there's no question Lamar Jackson is one of the top QBs in the league. Looking at it objectively, there is some concern about whether or not he could play his style of game for how long that can last. Hopefully a long time. But he's missed 5-6 games each of the last 2 years. Excuse me. That's what I've been saying. Like, he's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
He just is.
Yeah, that's 10 games total, right? It was 4 2 years ago that he missed and 6 last year.
Yeah.
So as much as I love the guy, I get those arguments, and he's lashed out against it. Lamar's trying to, come back on it, and he's really trying to fight against this notion that he wasn't hurt last year. People have accused him of being able to play in the playoff game, but he didn't play. He says that's not true. The Ravens have said they don't believe that is true either, that they believe he was hurt. Otherwise, he would have played. So now does it boil back down to
Well, were you hurt or were you injured?
right?
And maybe that's a question, like, were you hurt to where you can't get on the field and give us anything?
I mean, this is
Because could you have toughened it out?
I thought he handled it the right way in this respect, to send out the information, hey, the knee's worse than we thought it was. I'm not going to be able to go. And then don't show up to the game. That, I think, is the way to handle it. People ripped him for it. But what I didn't like was when Jay Cutler, wasn't it Cutler? Yes. Cutler in like a playoff game hurts his knee and then stood on the sideline the rest of the game.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, that's not a choice. You're either sitting down because you can't play, you're in the locker room because you can't play, or you play. You don't stand there during a playoff game and just do nothing.
That ruined Jay Cutler's career.
That is a horrible optic, and I get it. I understand what people could be thinking right now that have had knee injuries. Chad, there's a difference between being able to stand and I get all that. But I thought Lamar handled it pretty well. He wasn't a distraction for the team. He stayed away. He didn't have fans thinking, oh, look, there's Lamar. Maybe he's an option. Don't suit up. Don't be there. Take care of yourself. I'm good there. But I'm also in that thing that believes there's one NFL team that fits Lamar Jackson, that needs to devote themselves to Lamar Jackson, and unfortunately it's the Ravens. And I just don't know if it's going to happen. I think that's the fit. Unless the Colts really find the way to fall in love, but it feels like they're leaning more draft. Multiple teams are commenting here. They've had comments from Atlanta says they're going with Ritter. Tampa, Bowles said they're clearing cap space. Kyle Shanahan just deflected the question easily and said, what are you talking about? We have 3 quarterbacks. We feel good about what we are. Dan Campbell says we got a quarterback. We're good. Ron Rivera did not sound interested, if you heard his comments. The Jets aren't interested for an obvious reason. Carolina's not interested for a pretty obvious draft-related reason. The Colts are talking draft. Maybe this Robert Kraft Meek Mill thing is the chance he's looking for. Robert Kraft literally said that Meek Mill reached out to him and said Lamar Jackson would like to play for the Patriots, and then Kraft followed with, but that's Bill's decision.
That's weird, the relationship Robert Kraft and Meek Mill have.
It's really, really
Especially Meek being a Philadelphia guy.
Yeah. It's
like the Eagles and the Patriots, they have their own history.
Yeah.
They're
I
not
mean-
rivals, but the Super Bowl, they have their history. And Meek has performed at Lincoln
Yeah.
Financial Field.
Well, isn't it part of that great story where there was a group of people that banded together to help Meek Mill get out of jail? And I think Kraft is part of that.
I think you're right.
I think he's part of that group.
Yeah.
There was, I can't remember the guy. There's somebody it's either finance or there's some other key guy that I've seen interviewed about the situation, but I think Kraft is somehow involved in that. So I think that's more than just, hey, we're an acquaintance. I think he was a part of helping him get out of jail.
Okay.
So, and maybe that's the answer. Hey, man, I've already been a part of a huge favor. I can't ask Bill Belichick for another one. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. We can't ask Belichick.
Bill Belichick had nothing to do with Meek getting out.
No, and he would have everything to do with Lamar Jackson being a Patriot. I'm not sure if that'll happen either.
Nah.
So keep your eyes peeled. At this point, doesn't look like a lot of interest for Lamar Jackson. But I did just retweet the coach's picture. Zay put it out there as well. At @ain't_that_Zay for Isaiah. I'm at C Hastings 1049. Go see if you think Mike McCarthy looks like he needs to, get some toilet action going on, or if you can recognize which one is actually Mike Tomlin. A little tougher than you think in that picture of the NFL coaches. Up next, Chip Brown of Horns247.com, and at 2:30, we'll tell you why today matters on Earl Campbell's birthday. This is The Horn. Oh, like that beat. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Hour number 3, Chad and Zay with you. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, not the one that missed the free throws, the one that would have hit those free throws. He's also the one that's bringing you this beat. Who is it, Zay?
Robert Kraft's homeboy. Meek Mill.
The Meek Mill beat.
Featuring Drake, Going Bad, when those two squashed the beef and made a hit song.
How good is Meek Mill for you?
Yeah, I know a lot of people that love him. And
is he younger? Is he on the younger side for
Yeah.
you? Someone?
No, he's around my age.
Okay.
But he yells a lot.
God, that sounded like an old man. That sounded like you were getting older.
He yells so much, Chad.
Yeah,
Chad,
he yells a lot.
He yells in the raps.
And it's not like DMX yell either. It's his
okay.
version. Like, oh my God, I'm like, okay, Meek, relax.
You need to calm down.
Yeah,
a little
relax
bit.
a little bit.
That's
a little bit.
Meek Mill beat to get us started this hour. All right, let's get back into some Longhorn stuff. Talk to a man who was there when Texas had it. They had the trip to the Final Four, and then it got away from them, or Miami took it from them, or both. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline and talk to Chip Brown. We do it every Wednesday about this time. Check out horns247.com for all the great content, the flagship podcast, the Morning Brew article, and the rest. Chip, how are you?
I'm doing great, fellas. How you doing?
Man, we're doing well. I really wish we were talking to you about a trip to Houston and a big matchup. I guess it would be, a big matchup with UConn for Texas. It did not happen. Both the Cougars and the Longhorns ran into that Miami team and couldn't get away from it. You were there, feeling the emotion of that building at the time. Walk us through it a little bit, from the 13-point lead to obviously what Miami did after that. How did things roll out?
Yeah, I mean, Texas was on fire in that early part of the second half, and I mean, they hit 6 of 7 to start the second half, and built that 13-point lead. I thought there was a turning point when Marcus Carr collided with Norchad Omier with 11:06 left. Omier picked up his 4th foul on that play, but Marcus went to the locker room after that, and their offense wasn't the same after that. Their flow, Carr's ability to drive and dish, create. Texas went 5 of 16 shooting from that point on. And, Timmy Allen struggled late in that game. He had good looks. Brock Cunningham, who was 3 of 3 in the first half, had some good looks. But, it's tied with a minute left, and that's when the foul, where Omier is over Brock's back, but, Brock stumbles backward, gets called for undercutting him, and that was the turning point, because Omier hits the 2 free throws, and then Texas can't answer and ends up fouling, and Miami made all the free throws. The second half was crazy because both teams went to the free throw line 5 times in the first half. In the second half, it was 32 trips to the foul line, 27 of them by Miami. And I get it. Miami is an aggressive team. They are a veteran team. They were in the Elite Eight last year. They are hungry as hell. And they were getting more aggressive as that game went on, and Texas was getting less aggressive. So, you have to reward Miami for being the aggressive team, but man, that foul call, that would have been Omier's 5th foul. He'd have been out of the game for that last minute, and who knows how it ends at that point. But they call that foul the other way, and he makes both free throws, and Miami closes it out.
Yeah, Chip, it makes you think if Omier didn't have 4 fouls, would that have been a call? And if it wasn't Brock Cunningham, would that have been a call? We will never know. And I like that you mentioned Marcus Carr and Omier, that collision, because you're right. It did change when Marcus Carr had to go to the locker room. And plus, when Omier went out, Jim Larinaga brought in another guard, so they were just 5 guards and taking the Horns downhill, and Horns couldn't stay in front, and that's where you saw even more fouls. But at the end of the day, I know we're going to think about this game as the Horns blowing a 13-point lead, but it doesn't really tell what the season was and how good Rodney Terry and how good this team was getting into the Elite Eight, which we haven't seen in 15 years. Rodney Terry officially gets the job yesterday, Chip. What does that mean for the program and moving forward? And was it the right decision in your eyes?
Yeah, I think it absolutely was the right decision. I like the fact that Rodney Terry's going to try and, it sounds like, bring that staff back. Not sure that everyone will be in the same role that they're in. I could see Chris Ogden moving off the coaching staff back into that, managing director role where he's kind of managing the roster and NIL and recruiting. But Bob Donewald did a great job with the offense, and kudos to Rodney Terry for opening it up. I mean, TJ Ford, I thought one of the more interesting comments I heard yesterday was from TJ saying, this was fun basketball to watch. In years past, under Beard and under Rick Barnes, the offense wasn't a priority. It was all about the defense. The defense had to carry the day. This was a fun team to watch. I mean, how about that alley-oop from Marcus Carr to Dylan Mitchell? To go up 70-60 with 8:53 left, you thought, okay, they still got some swag here, but they were a fun team to watch, and they were bonded in a way that you could see it, you could feel it. When Dylan Dizu can't play against Xavier, you're like, oh geez. There's Jack Nungy, the 7-footer in there who can pull you out and shoot threes, and Christian Bishop plays the game of his life. And they get through that game no problem. I mean, they were up double digits the whole way, up 24 at one point. But I remember looking over at Jeff Howe and saying, I don't know if they can beat Miami without Dylan Dizu because of, Miami's strength inside and Jordan Miller. I mean, Jordan Miller didn't miss in that game, and he ends up being, the really tough matchup because your biggest body has to be on, Norchad Omier. So it was an unbelievable run in the postseason. The Big 12 tournament victory in Kansas City, 20 points over Kansas when 90% of the building is dressed in Jayhawk blue, was outstanding. They won those games without Timmy Allen, and so you give Rodney Terry a ton of credit for pushing all the right buttons with this team and having that great season and getting the job. And LaMarcus Aldridge comes down to be at this press conference, and we asked him about it, and he's like, hey man, RT was there for me when I was a player, and I want to be there for him. And, I need to support this program more and help bring some talent in here. If that kind of unity around the program is happening, it absolutely was the right move, because I think Rodney Terry, the one thing you don't worry about with him is recruiting. And so, he's going to go out, he's going to go after the best guys. It's what he's always done. I asked him for an example of his best recruiting effort recently, and he said, well, man, Marcus Carr was a tough get. I mean, everyone wanted him, Kansas, Kentucky, and we brought him in, and it absolutely turned out to be a great pickup. And I think some of the players were undecided after the lost to Miami because they wanted to wait and see how things shook out with the coaching situation. And so I think there's a better chance of guys like, Tyrese Hunter, Arterio Morris, Dylan Mitchell coming back now than if Texas would have made a different coaching change.
Talking with Chip Brown, horns247.com. Chip, obviously you were there yesterday for the press conference. I wanted to get your thoughts on CDC's comments. He didn't have to go into the detail that he did. All season long, I heard different fans. Zay said it at one point. A lot of different fans would say, I don't want him to mess with it. I don't want him to mess with this rhythm right now. We talked to you about that along the way. Do you think CDC yesterday was just essentially saying that? Like, look, I might have deep down known this was my guy, but I couldn't mess with what was going on. I had to let it play out because he didn't want to be seen as some kind of a weird jinx if it had gone wrong after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd heard, and I think I told you all after the Big 12 tournament that, barring Texas just falling flat in the NCAA tournament, it was going to be Rodney Terry's job. And Texas was going to do its due diligence because, let's be honest, this is not a typical move for Texas. They typically bring in coaches who've been through the fire, probably at more than one place, have proven they can build a program from scratch once or twice, and then they bring them into Texas because at Texas, you got to know who you are. You got to know what you're doing. You can't, like Shaka Smart came in, and suddenly could get big guys, inherited, Jared Allen, he brought in Jared Allen, and Jared Allen was a local kid. Shaka had never had big guys, 7-footers. He brings in Mo Bamba. He doesn't know what he's totally getting out of his own comfort zone. And in some ways he was learning on the job and it wasn't working. You've got to know what you're recruiting to, how you're going to build your roster. You definitely got to be able to evaluate players' personalities, make sure it all fits. But I think what we saw this year was a lot of selflessness. And, man, if Rodney Terry can maintain that going forward, then this program's going to be fine. And I think the administration, I don't know what CDC was saying about, how, some of them wanted him to be the head coach like December 13th. I mean, it wasn't that, I can promise you. They were definitely doing their due diligence, but Rodney Terry earned the job. And in the end, thank goodness, because some of the leading candidates that, likely leading candidates kind of got dented a little bit this year. Tony Bennett loses to Furman first round of the tournament. Nate Oates loses the PR battle on the Brandon Miller connection to the fatal shooting. Eric Musselman rips his shirt off after beating Kansas, making it about him. I mean, there's some weird stuff going on, and Rodney absolutely emerged as the guy.
Yeah, that didn't feel like the Texas head coach to you, Chip, when he ripped off the shirt.
I mean, what was that?
Zay
That was so weak.
That was the moment Zay knew. That's when Zay knew that was not his coach.
Middle-aged madness. I mean,
it really
jump
was
up on the scores table.
Yeah, it was the Howard Dean scream. That was his Howard Dean scream moment when a lot of people realized, oh, you can't be that guy. Okay. And then just kind of move on.
No, it's a great call, Chad. I mean, I remember Glenn Big Baby Davis jumping up on the scores table after LSU beat Texas to go to the Final Four in 06. I get that. I did not get what, I'm all about guys having high energy and stuff, but anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a hell of a coach. He
is, no doubt.
Yeah. Chip, before we go, let me ask you about a football question. They had the coaches clinic this past Friday, and then they also had junior day. And with the success of the basketball team getting to the Elite Eight, that puts a little bit more pressure on Steve Sarkisian and this football team to have a really good year in the last season in the Big 12. How are they looking with spring football or the spring game about to start in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're seeing really good things in the trenches. The defensive line, I keep hearing is starting to, really become the personality of this team, and that needs to happen because those guys are the strength of the team, in my opinion. The offensive line has a lot to be excited about with all the experience they have coming back, all 5 starters, even though, Cole Hudson's out for the spring after the shoulder surgery. It really is about the development of Quinn Ewers, and I'm hearing good things, solid, managing everything well. He's not turning the ball over, and they've definitely added help at the receiver position. I mean, I'm already hearing it's going to be hard to keep Jonte Cook, DeAndre Moore off the field, A.D. Mitchell from Georgia, and we haven't even really gotten to see Isaiah Nayer yet in his full capacity because they're still limiting him coming off the ACL injury from last year. So the running back position, exciting. Jonathan Brooks can't, he's not full go in contact yet, but Jaden Blue and CJ Baxter are getting praise from the sources I'm talking to. That position will have to show it under the lights, and that we won't have a true answer there until fall camp. But the good news is that the coaches are excited about what they're seeing from guys like Jaden Blue and CJ Baxter and even Savion Red. He's a little inconsistent, but man, he's got tools to be an impact guy. I don't know if it's this season or if it's 24, but it sure seems like Savion Red, who's got a little bit of that Debo combination to him, could be an impact guy here down the road.
And if you don't have it on your calendar, we know you have it on your calendar. We're 17 days from the spring game and only 157 days away from that first Texas football game. That is Chip Brown. We talk to him every Wednesday about this time. Get on horns247.com today. They got all kinds of great stuff for you, including that flagship podcast that Chip's a part of. Obviously, the Longhorn Blitz podcast that Jeff Howe is a part of. We'll bring that to you tonight at 8 following the Wednesday Night Flex show. And always check out the Morning Brew article. Chip getting you the very latest each and every morning at horns247.com. Chip, we always appreciate it. Now, are you going to Houston anyway? You don't have to go, but are you going to go and watch the Final Four anyway?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna be watching it at home just like everybody else. But what a run! What a fun run this postseason has been. So thanks to Rodney Terry and that team for giving us all something to get excited about and follow.
No doubt. Now, you got to see Miami up close, but I think the question now in the Final Four is, does anybody beat UConn? So what do you think?
Well, that's the final.
Right.
I mean, in my mind, it's Miami, UConn. That's the final because those teams are both just they're confident, man. They're playing with so much confidence. And I love the storyline. Don't get me wrong. I love the San Diego State, Florida Atlantic storyline. And, Rodney Terry was talking about how tough it is that he wasn't enjoying his time as much at Fresno and UTEP because, he'd get players, he'd develop them, and then they'd transfer. And so, he was saying, man, kudos to San Diego State and Florida Atlantic for being able to hang on to their players and develop that kind of chemistry and mojo. So, but man, UConn, Miami, that's grown man basketball right there.
Yep, no doubt. All right, Chip, we appreciate it, man. Have a great week.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Good
Thanks,
stuff
Chip.
there. Again, Chip Brown, horns247.com, at Chip Brown247 on Twitter. Up next, Why Today Matters. It's real easy for us on March 29th, and around these parts, it's Earl Campbell's birthday. We'll talk running backs next on The Horn. All right, let's talk a little Twin Peaks. Always a great day to be alive at Twin Peaks, especially if you are a hockey fan tonight. Get on out to your favorite lodge location. It's also your hockey headquarters every Wednesday night. You can score some free NHL swag or an authentic jersey just for watching Wednesday night hockey out at Twin Peaks. Plus, Jaeger and Jaeger Cold Brew are just $3.99 all day and all night. They will see you out there for a little hockey tonight at Twin Peaks. Also, you got Saturday with the Final Four. Get on over there, even if you're a Texas fan or a Houston fan and you're trying to figure out what happened with your team. Hey, go drown your sorrows out at Twin Peaks with the 29-degree draft brews, the made-from-scratch food, and yes, the Twin Peaks girls will make sure you're taken care of. All the screens going, all the sports happening. Baseball getting underway. Tomorrow is opening day, so get on out to Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views, Stastny, San Marcos, and yes, Round Rock. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com.
Chad and Zay.
Man, it's always tough to get those rhyme schemes when you have to take certain words out. Ho, man. This sounds like Kendrick to me.
What?
A little bit? No?
I mean, we all have different ears.
I'm not good at identifying Kendrick Lamar.
It sounds like
clearly.
Kendrick to you, really?
A little bit. Obviously, I need to listen to more Kendrick. Who
Yeah,
is it?
do.
Who is it?
Rihanna's baby daddy.
Rihanna's baby daddy. Hang on. Rihanna is no, I can't get Cardi B out of my head, and she's with Offset.
Oh, wow.
So Rihanna is with, I don't know.
A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky. No, I
Yeah,
wasn't coming
that's
up
a
with that.
shame.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Obviously I've not heard I haven't heard any A$AP Rocky, and clearly I need to listen to more Kendrick Lamar. All right.
Yeah, A$AP Rocky. I mean, the only thing those two have in common were they came out during the blog era, like around 2010 to 2011.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. But
No.
this was A$AP Rocky's first big hit.
Okay.
It was either this one or Everything Is Purple. I don't know what that song's called, but yeah, A$AP Rocky came out with the A$AP Crew. Everybody's name is A$AP something. Probably the next biggest A$AP person is A$AP Ferg. A$AP Ferg has a really good career.
Oh, so there's a whole group of people
yeah,
like
like
A$AP.
A$AP 12E and a whole bunch of A$AP guys.
All right. Pardon me for doing the white guy breakdown, but is this a reference to As Soon as Possible, like the
I don't
acronym?
know. I don't know. They're from Harlem.
Hey, get it to me ASAP.
Maybe.
Right? Let's do this ASAP. Is that what it means? Like
I don't.
Like
I want to say no, but
no? Okay. All right.
I have been wrong before about these
There
things.
you go. Again, I'm sorry for making it way less cool than it needs to be, but I just have to ask these questions. That's the way my brain works. A$AP Rocky joining Linda Ronstadt, Marshall Crenshaw, Leonard Skinnard, and Gary Moore on
All
the
right.
show today. And the Meek Mill beat was nice to start the hour.
So somebody on Specs text line says it stands for Always Strive and Prosper.
Ah, okay.
Deep.
So they took it and then changed it up.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Rihanna ain't gonna be with no dummy.
No, I
She
couldn't.
ain't gonna waste the
imagine.
time.
No, that's got to be it's got to be an interesting relationship.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
got-
number 2 on the way.
I bet you got to work to keep her interested. She just feels like somebody that's got to. You can't be boring. to
No.
be with Rihanna.
No.
You got to have a lot going on.
Yeah, A$AP Rocky's out there. He has a little bit of Harry Styles in him. Just a
Okay.
little bit.
All right,
Just enough to
enough to
keep Rihanna interested.
keep it
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go. Why today matters. There is a legendary football birthday today that has our attention. Here we go.
Why Today Matters, brought to you by Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Get sinus and snoring relief with Dr. Daniel Slaughter at Sinus and Snoring Specialists, 512-601-0303 or sinussnoringent.com.
Yes, indeed. Happy birthday to the great Earl Campbell. His birthday today, and it gives us another opportunity to remind you about the Barbecue and Boots event. You've heard Tyler Campbell talking about it, raising money for the fight against multiple sclerosis. Tyler's has done such a great job of that over the years. Earl's a part of it. Pro Football Hall of Famers are a part of that event. Go to proplayerfoundation.org. See if they've got some seats available for you. It's an incredible event every year, and it comes up this Saturday. So because of Earl's birthday, we were asking about your Mount Rushmore of running backs. And Zay, I decided in the end I was going to take two things into account. I'll do guys I saw, and then I will try to take my Cowboy and Buck fan bias out of it. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay.
Just four guys.
I know that's hard for you.
Hard
so,
to do. It's hard
yeah.
to do because then, there's a Tony Dorsett, Emmitt Smith, Ricky Bell, Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstott. There's all kinds of things that would get mentioned, but let's just break it.
Warwick Dunn.
Let's break it.
Wow.
Let's break it down. Yeah, I love Warwick. He doesn't belong on a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Right over him. So I'm going to say all time that these eyes have seen. I'm going to go Earl Campbell. I'm going to go no particular order because it's a Rushmore. I'll go Earl Campbell. It's his birthday. I'll go Walter Payton because I may have never seen a better all-around back than him. I am going to go Barry Sanders for all you Barry Sanders fans because I saw it too. I saw it at Oklahoma State, and I saw him in the pros. He's absolutely unbelievable. And then I'm going to go with a guy that when I think about badass running backs that I've watched, there's an image of him that always pops up. He was different than all the rest, and he is the guy that I watched go over 2,000 yards and ultimately setting the record that's still there, I'm going to go Eric Dickerson.
Yo.
The man was a badass.
Goggles.
The way he carried himself, the way he looked, the way he ran, that weird, smooth, straight up thing.
Like, how do you run like that?
John Robinson.
And being tall,
Yeah.
being that tall.
John Robinson bitched at him in with the Rams. He bitched at him for running slow in practice. Started to get on him about it. And one of the other coaches kind of pulls him on the side. He's like, Coach, he's busting guys up. What are you talking about? He's breaking tackles. He's not getting dragged down. But by the way Eric ran, he just thought he was loafing for some reason.
What?
Because the style looked so weird because Eric made it look simple.
Yeah.
He just take kind of it was almost like Vince's strides, 2 steps, and it felt like he was going 15 yards. So I'll put Eric Dickerson on a Mount Rushmore because that dude's a badass. And he does have that all-time record. So I got a little bit of clout there if he's got the all-time season record, and he did it in the 16-game run, I think.
Damn.
That was in the 16-game run, and he went over 2,100 yards. I still think that's the record.
Yo.
I don't think anybody's caught him.
Yo, he was the man, and he took no money from SMU. None whatsoever.
No.
He was the absolute man coming out of Sealy,
And
Texas.
no cars from A&M
Yeah,
either.
no cars, no nothing.
That didn't
He was
happen.
a saint. For
right, you
me,
got yours
Chad,
ready?
Yeah, I think it stayed the same.
Okay.
Emmett Smith,
Mhm.
Barry Sanders,
Yeah.
Damian Tomlinson,
Yeah.
and then the tie, Ricky Williams and Priest Holmes.
Ricky and Priest.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, a little bias there.
Uh-huh.
I don't give a damn.
And a little Longhorn bias. As
Yeah,
long as you admit it.
If I wasn't going Longhorn bias, I would probably throw Marshall Faulk in there.
Oh, Marshall was such a great all-around guy. Great all-around
There's
back.
so much talent
Love
on
Marshall.
that team, though.
I've mentioned him before. One of my favorite running backs that could do it all was Roger Craig. I wouldn't put him at Mount Rushmore status, but man, he was like torturously fun to watch for me because I was a Cowboys fan. So
Yeah.
I didn't like watching that production on some level, but he was an absolute badass. And Marshall kind of picked that part of it up. When I saw Marshall Faulk play, it kind of reminded me of the Roger Craig when he could go like, oh my God, this guy may go 1,000 and 1,000 if they do it the right way, right? This guy could end up with 100 touchdowns rushing and receiving if they threw him the ball enough. I mean, he was amazing. Some of the numbers he put up with the Rams was dumb.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Earl Campbell. I know there's a lot of folks around here that remember Earl, whether it's a football story at Texas, whether he was in the pros and you have a story, or it's one of those great stories of just Earl being a great guy.
Somebody
Legend.
said Terrell Davis on the Specs text line if Mike Shanahan didn't run him to the ground.
Oh, dude, Terrell Davis in his prime. And dealing with those horrific migraines that he dealt with, but he
Yeah.
was a badass. He's easily the reason Elway's got rings, and Elway would tell you that.
Yeah.
Without him, no rings for Elway at all. He's Elway's Pippin, is what he is. He's the key to it.
I like that.
He had to do it. Now, we haven't mentioned him yet. Somebody put Bo Jackson up there. Somebody texted me, no Emmett. Look, I love Emmett. Again, I'm trying to keep the Cowboy bias out of it. If you say my favorite running backs of all time, just my situation, Emmett's going to be in there. No doubt about it. But I'll try to put all that to the side to try to just say, okay, taking all that out, figuring it out. Bo Jackson is one of the best running backs I've ever seen. That's a discussion, too. Do you put him on a Mount Rushmore? I'll still say if he stays healthy, he ends up in both Hall of Fames. I really believe that. I believe he goes to Canton and Cooperstown if he doesn't have that hip injury. And if he wanted to do it and stay focused on both, I think he's Hall of Fame in both.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy take, but I can't argue it.
Because he was just such a badass. Deion wasn't going to be quite that good in baseball.
No.
But Bo was. I think Bo was that next level up. Even from where Deion was at both sports, I think he was going to be Hall of Fame elite if he could have possibly stayed healthy.
If you talk about players using the video game, Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson,
That's what I always
Mount
heard.
Rushmore.
Impossible to beat, right?
Not even close.
They had him set at like 99.9
Yeah, it's such
at
a
all
joke.
times. Yeah.
Such a joke. Just outran everybody.
That is so great. That is so great. Somebody says Barry, OJ, Dickerson, and Walter. That's from Kevin over there at Whitestone Brewery. Shout out to you, Kevin. What's up? Hope everything's going well over at the Whitestone Brewery. I need to get out there and have a sip or two. It's a good group. Barry, OJ, Dickerson, Walter Payton. You think of those guys in their prime doing it the way only they could do it. Whew, that's tough to beat.
I appreciate y'all throwing OJ out there.
Well, you told them to just
I
be
appreciate
realistic.
that. You gotta be realistic.
Somebody throws Adrian Peterson in the discussion.
Ooh.
Adrian Peterson in his prime, is he Mount Rushmore-ish?
Yeah.
Because he was damn good.
He was really good.
That guy was different. He had that little, to give Earl a nod on his birthday, the beauty of Earl Campbell and then the beauty of Ricky Williams to me was it's the speed-power combo. It's both. They could truck you, and then you're never going to catch him. And then the guy behind you that's jumping over you will not catch him.
Right.
That combo. Adrian Peterson was that level badass. The anger that he ran, with which he ran, was silly when he was healthy, and just that drive he had. He ran like there were family members being held in the end zone, and he had to get there to help them. Like, that's how he ran the ball.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
We knew he was angry all the time. Just ask his son.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring up the family member because you go right to that joke. I wasn't trying to do that to a fellow Texan.
You said he ran angry. He was always angry.
Oh, man.
Of course he ran that way.
Dude, that's one of those guys, man. I don't know how, once he gets going, I'm not sure how to stop him. I'm not sure how to get that dude on the ground. Running backs to the discussion today because it is Earl Campbell's birthday. Also today, happy birthday to the legendary hottie, Elle McPherson, who hits 59 today. So Elle will hit 60 next year. We've had a lot of world-class hotties hitting 60 lately. She's almost there, 59 years old for Elle McPherson. I'm sure she still looks awesome.
Yo, she was a legend. No, I'm thinking of Cindy Crawford, but McPherson, she was more just like, what? Did she ever do Playboy?
I don't believe she did Playboy. She was Sports Illustrated.
She was Sports Illustrated.
She was a swimsuit model, legendary.
But she never did like TV stuff like Cindy Crawford. Like, she was never doing like MTV and interviewing people and had her own show.
No, she had the little bit part in Friends, hanging out a little bit, and did some acting stuff, but nothing.
Who dated her in Friends? Which one?
Joey. She lived with Joey. You don't remember that? When she lived with
LeBlanc?
Joey? When Chandler moved out to be with Monica, she moved in for a little while. It was great. Oh, that was a great idea. That was good stuff. She was so Elle McPherson at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. You're talking about Elle in the 90s? Good grief. Happy birthday to Elle McPherson. Also, since I was raised on Monty Python, I got to tell you, Eric Idle is 80 today. He's my favorite Monty Python guy, and the fact that he's 80 makes me feel real old. So Eric Idle and Jerry Jones are the same age, just to give you a good comparison there, if you know those two guys. All right, there's March 29th. Happy birthday to Earl Campbell again. That is why today matters to us. Up next, stems and seeds for you before we get out of here, including, we're just talking about football, and are you a Hall of Fame level? How about the basketball Hall of Fame list? We'll talk about that on the way out. Huge names, and if you're a Spurs fan, you get multiple reasons to be happy. This is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
I appreciate it, Zay. I had a bit of a bad moment, and you thought, let's come back. Let's give him a nice, easy one down the middle. See if we can get him back into some confidence.
Yep, nice Jason Kidd alley-oop. Right on the money.
You're treating me like, what's my man that went to A&M that Chris Paul was lobbing all that stuff to?
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
You're treating me like DeAndre Jordan with the Clippers. Little Dre and Eminem.
That's right.
For the people. Okay.
Guilty Conscience.
I'm not sure I've heard this one.
Oh, that's a classic.
Is this off a Dre record?
No, this is M's first album, Slim Shady.
Oh.
LP?
Wow, then I haven't listened to it in a while. I know I've heard this album, but I'm not familiar with the song. That's good.
Yeah, very inappropriate song.
Oh, I love when these two get together and get inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's my favorite version. I don't want to hear appropriate Dre and Eminem. I don't even know what that sounds like. Dre and Eminem, ASAP Rocky was on the show earlier. Linda Ronstadt from back in the day covering the Stones, which was cool. Marshall Crenshaw, Leonard Skinner, Gary Moore, all a part of it. The Meek Mill beat to start the hour. Meek Mill does factor into sports right now because apparently he is not Lamar Jackson's agent, but apparently was a spokesperson and translated to Robert Kraft that Lamar might be interested in being a Patriot because right now Lamar's just interested in being something not a Raven. So apparently Meek Mill did tell Robert Kraft that. Kraft told the media that it happened, but says it's Bill's decision. Obviously talking about Bill Belichick. So we will see. Zay, if you were a Patriots fan, would you want Bill Belichick to make that kind of move and that kind of commitment and say, let's go Lamar Jackson for the last part of my career?
No.
Those two tight ends, you know you're going to have a great defense because you're the Patriots. You don't want to go that far?
No.
Okay.
I'm the Patriots. What Lamar Jackson's asking, we know the Patriots. They ain't, nah.
Yeah, they don't throw that money around.
Yeah, and they're still banking on this Mac Jones rookie deal. He's in year 3.
True. So they haven't had to spend the money yet.
Yeah, they ain't trying to spend that money.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, Chad and Zay with you on this Wednesday. Let's round it out with a little basketball Hall of Fame talk and a game that we hope includes a former Longhorn tonight. But right now, we just never know. Here we go.
No stress, no C's, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Congrats to the Basketball Hall of Famers. Zay, we got all kinds of Texas feel all over it, but specifically if you're a Spurs fan, Greg Popovich, Hall of Famer officially. They'll officially announce this on Saturday, and the enshrinement is in August. Tony Parker is a Hall of Famer. No shock there. And Becky Hammon gets in. Obviously a WNBA legend, but then Spurs fans know her as the assistant coach, and now she's gone on to Vegas and already won a title. Those three are in the Hall of Fame, along with Dwayne Wade, Pau Gasol, and oh, looky there, old number 41, Dirk Nowitzki, Hall of Famer.
Yo, what a class.
I know.
What a class. Love D-Wade, had a hell of a career. No Mavs fans are still salty about 06. I get it. Dirk, I mean, changed the way we look at big men and their ability to shoot. Change the way we look at Europeans, because we all thought Europeans, they're soft. Look at Dirk. Well, 2011 on that ass.
Yeah.
These Europeans, they're tough. It just depends on who you get. And Dirk showed everybody he was tough. Pau Gasol, European guy, won his rings with Kobe. I hate when people say, oh, Kobe did it without Shaq, because Pau Gasol was so good.
I loved watching him. He's one of my favorite passing big men that nobody talks about.
He was incredible during his tenure with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, he behind the back passes, like you said, he would push the ball up the court, throw no lookers, and he was 7 foot, but he was able to play center and power forward because he was so agile and so athletic. So, yeah, Tony Parker, one of the best finishers I've ever seen at the point guard spot.
Ooh, the little
ever.
teardrop.
Oh, the spin move.
Dude,
spin move to the layup, the teardrop, the crossovers.
As a Mavs fan, there's still some of his teardrops that I see in my nightmares. God, he used to destroy everybody with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total. You're right. It's a hell of a class. The only class recently I can think of, didn't Duncan and Kobe go in together?
Tim Duncan, Kobe, and Kevin Garnett went in together.
And Garnett. And was that after Kobe died?
Yeah, that was when Kobe passed. I want to say I was.
That's like the only thing that made that weird.
Yeah.
Right? because they got there and the guys were crying and stuff about Kobe. But that class was silly good. This one does have a comparison to it when you put Wade and Dirk and Parker, and then you add in Gasol, and then, of course, Pop and Becky Hammon getting in as well. Incredible stuff. Congrats to all the Hall of Famers. Tonight, Dallas at Philly is the opener in the NBA at 6:30 on ESPN, and then Minnesota at Phoenix, 9 o'clock. Kevin Durant, let's get through the warm-ups. Let's get through the warm-ups. We're going to see Kevin Durant and Devin Booker together tonight, Zay?